Yes, guys, it is the morning after the night before. Porto nil, Chelsea 2. I don't know why I was struggling to come through the fucking scoreline, but yes, Porto nil, Chelsea 2. We take two away goals into the second leg. But surprisingly, after half the news that's been popping up around the last few hours, I don't even know how long we're even going to be talking about the game for. But we are still in a good mood. Me personally, it's easily gassed because it's my birthday in 24 hours. So big up everyone who's locked in as well. And yeah, we got the best panel for you guys as always. First off, Johnny, I don't need to ask you how your night's been, but talk to me, man. How you been?
Yeah, slept like a baby, mate. Absolutely buzzing. Money Mace, done it again. Done it again. Say no more. Respect on the name. And what a goal.
About damn time too.
Yeah, proper. And
Damn right, man.
we've got the seal of approval from Roy Keane and Scholesy co-signed on the
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah. Tell the guys in the chat about what happened as well. We know what happened, but let the guys know who are watching.
So basically, I've been on many streams, and people that know me, I've got a lot of stick for quoting Roy Keane's quote of saying that Mason Mount's a bit like Paul Scholes, and obviously I've done a bit of prop on it, videos and so forth, and Lewis has edited some lovely artwork for me as well with the penitentiary.
Glorious
Scholesy,
artwork.
yes, glorious artwork. And I put that on Instagram last night, and Scholes actually saw this image. All right, and I put the video of Roy Keane, and Roy Keane has seen the video, so they've officially signed it off for us to give the seal of approval.
They didn't say you were wrong with it either.
No.
So you got the Paul Scholes co-sign on their own argument that you've been back in the last month, man. This arc is glorious, bro, honestly. Hi, Scott as well, man. Chat to me. How you been, bro?
Been good. Enjoyed coming off yesterday with that 2-0 win. It gives us a good chance to go into the semis. Probably against Real Madrid. Almost certainly against Real Madrid at this point.
Definitely.
And then, yeah, just been enjoying today, and then found out about the news that we're going to get into and felt quite good. And then, yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting into talking about it because I know exactly what the comments are going to be getting on at me about, but it's going to be fun.
I love just a little shot as well. Like, it felt good reading that news. I can't be arsed about it. We're going to delve into it later on, though, and then afterwards we'll open the lineup so you can all have your say as well. Big up, Wayne, bro. Chat to me. How's your night been?
Buzzing. Great evening, as we know, for the result. Then, obviously, for me, it was the start of WrestleMania week last night as well. So, obviously, with the wrestling, I'm buzzing with that. And then, of course, without mentioning it, my G birthday on Friday.
Yeah, can't wait. Big 23, we move.
So it's all positives. It's all vibing. It's all just a brilliant time to be alive right now as a Chelsea fan.
Damn right. It's been a great 24 hours. And to be honest, it's been a great 2021 as well. We've spoken a lot about the way the team played against Sevilla. So we'll talk a few about individual performances. The first player I want to talk about, I actually don't think we've spoken about him enough compared to the other players yesterday. Edouard Mendy. And I know the general consensus is that Mason Mount should be winning player of the season. I stand by that as well. If there's one player that's pushing him towards that, or pushing him actually for this award, it has to be Edouard Mendy. And he showed up so many times again in this match too. And it wasn't even wonder saves or anything like that. It was just consistently being at the right spot at the right time and doing his job to perfection throughout the 90 minutes. Johnny, first off, chat to me about Edouard Mendy's performance.
Yeah, he's been solid. I can't fault the guy. He's come in and literally doing his job and bits, if you know what I mean. Like, he's pulled out, like, if you take the United game where Rashford probably could have won the game, couldn't see where the ball was, and he saved us from conceding, and we drew the game at a vulnerable period at that time. Big saves again, all the way through. I just think that right now there is no need to change our goalkeeper. He is good enough. He's good enough. He's proven it. I know he's not had much of a track record at the top level. But boy, oh boy, has he proven himself. He's come into Chelsea, and you can tell that playing for Chelsea means everything to him. And I think that's another aspect I like about him, because if you know about his background, the fact that he was unemployed and so forth and went to become a goalie, I just think that you need players like that, especially as your goalkeeper. You want that grit, that kind of leadership at the back, not just as in your centre back. So for me, he's definitely in contention for player of the season. Everyone knows who my player of the season will be, but he's definitely there for sure.
Yeah, you spoke about how he really wants to make this work at Chelsea as well. And I do remember a couple of his quotes when he first joined us. And he was really speaking about how not only he wanted to make a name for himself, but he was saying about how he feels like black goalkeepers in general have had a bit of a stigma placed on them. And he wanted to break it. And this isn't even me trying to turn into a race thing or anything like that. But I'm just saying he's gone and he's exceeded everybody's expectations this season. We were worried about a little blip towards the Christmas period, and it's fair to criticize when the performances deserve the criticism, but I feel based off the way that he's performed over the last few months, especially when we've taken the pressure off him and he's had a lot less to deal with, but he's still been able to maintain the concentration and be able to turn it around in a game against Porto like we had yesterday, when he is having to deal with a lot of shots consistently, and he can still show the concentration, still be able to deal with that higher volume of shots compared to recent games too. So for me, it's like the more we keep seeing him play, the more he keeps answering more questions as well. And I understood a few months ago if we wanted to bring in another goalkeeper, because I've always been the idea of if there's a better option there, always go for the better option. But he only seems to be getting better. And I know we said the same thing about Kepa in his first season, and I know the second season is going to be an even bigger question mark than the first. But right now, there's no reason why he should lose his spot based on the performance that he had this season. Scott, what's your thoughts?
I agree on that, and I think I'm still of the mindset of if there is anyone better out there for a reasonable price, go to get him. But it's a case of, I mentioned this on a stream before, where goalkeepers like the 5th position you should be looking at to improve in this team in a minute, maybe even lower than that. They're like, as you said, it's a case of if there's a Ter Stegen or an Oblak or that sort of caliber goalkeeper available for a decent price, then you can go and get him. But it's not somewhere we should be looking to improve. And I think I echo what Johnny said about Mendy and the way where he's come from. I have so much respect for him for that. To go in from being, I think it was 24 or wherever it was, where he was unemployed without a club, got released, worked his way from the 4th tier of French football, playing for Marseille's third team or whatever it was, to then being their second choice keeper, to then going to Rennes, to then come in here. And I think it's a testament to his character that he was able to do that and that he didn't give up. And I think it shows what kind of mentality he has as a player, that he always wants to improve. And I think for me, he has been our player of the season. I think you say he had that blip, but I don't remember any performances that were really bad. Even performances where we conceded loads of goals, I don't remember them being his fault. It was always on us being poor defensively. Even that Villa game that people moaned at him for El Ghazi's goal, that wasn't his fault. I
wasn't even thinking about the Villa game personally. For me, it was the Wolves match. I thought the Everton game was rash, like the penalty decision, but I don't really hold too much against him on that.
We see that from
every. Yeah, it weren't that deep, but it just added to it. There was also the Manchester City game. I thought the first 2 goals he could have done a little bit better for. First one, I give credit, that was a good turn by Gunter and everything, but he still flapped at it. And the second one was another near post one. And that's been the only question mark for me. I feel like he's low-key been a little bit suspect at his near post. But even then, he's changed all of that over the last few months, and he's got himself back on form, and he's back to his best now.
Yeah, and I think the only thing he needs to work on is distribution. If that's the only thing as a goalkeeper you need to work on, then I think it's more than good enough, because that can come with time. That can come with a good enough coach coaching that into you. And as I've said it before, where you can have good distribution, be a shit keeper. We've got enough of those in this league. But Edouard Mendy's not that. And as I said, for me, he's been our player of the season, I think, for me.
Oh, so you think he's outright player of the season?
For me, I think it's close, but he just edges Mount and Silva for me, because I know those are the other 2 that have been mentioned.
Scotty.
The way I see it is, for me, the other two have had, yes, they've been good in parts. As I said, for me, Mendy hasn't had what I would consider a bad game. He's had a couple of iffy moments. There's been games I've seen where Silva has been bad, and there's been games where Mount has been bad, even though they've had the highs they've had. Like the West Brom game, for example, Mount wasn't good, but he's then had games like last night where he was amazing. So it's like he's had both ends of the scale, where I feel with Mendy has been consistently good over the whole season.
Well, he had a bad game. He let in 5 goals, no? Do you know what I mean? Would you not say?
I'd say
but none of
context.
the
It's like
goals were
you
his
can't
fault.
say he had a great game, but I can't blame him for anything.
Yeah,
None of those goals.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. He hasn't had games where he's been at fault for us conceding, or apart from the penalty. But as I said, every frigging goalkeeper in the league gives those away. Alisson's been doing shit like that the whole bloody season, but it's been fine.
He's had a moment. I think he has had a couple of games where he's not been great, and but you know, and then Mount's had a. I think it's very close, but for me,
it's
Mount,
definitely close. It's
he
definitely
scores
close.
the goals, the big goals. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I see it. But yeah, fair play.
Go on, Wayne. What were you going to say?
So for me, for last night with Mendy, something I think you guys haven't mentioned yet, and I mentioned last night, but obviously I'll stand by it. He was commanding last night. I know they had opportunities, headers, I get that, but what I saw, he took the defense. He made the defense not worry. Like, you know, with Kepa, and how many times we've gone with Kepa and he looked so shaky and so in that thing, like in defense, are like, nah, then they're making harsh decisions and that's costing us goals, costing us games. With Mendy, he was so commanding. He's like, yeah, don't you worry, go forward. I'll boot it forward. They're playing us here, they're pressing us. I'm going to hit it long to Giroud. Let Giroud help it down and go from there. He literally, that's what I am impressed with. In fact, is like we said, he's not been in football, in the top football for a long time, but he can have that presence already and make that solid performance. Is so impressive for me, because all of us can sit here and say the truth. When the season started and we was linked to Mendy, I guarantee not a lot of us knew who he was or what he was
we
about.
were really going to take any goalkeeper that wasn't Kepa at that point.
We just
But
trusted Czech. We just trusted Czech, I guess.
And none of us knew how good Mendy could be, or if he was going to be like a Kepa. No one knew. And when he got in goal, he went clean sheets under Lampard, and we all was buzzing then. But for me, he was gone up another gear under Tuchel. For me, he's gone up another gear, and he's proved himself in a different style of football, and he's had to deal with different sort of stuff. And for me, yeah, I agree with you. Mount and Mendy's it is close, but I'm like Scott. I think Mendy's winning it, and not because I don't rate Mount, because I think Mount's been quality for us, but I think Mendy's had more match-winning games than Mount has this season, in my opinion. So, and you look how many clean sheets he's had in this season. I don't know if you guys can bet on computers and find out these stuff out.
I remember checking his stats after one of the games. It was nuts, where he had like a 50% clean sheet rate or something across the games he played. He's only like one of 10 goalkeepers or something in the entire league that's done that, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was mental.
Let me get Mendy's stats up.
That's also credit to the team as well. The way we've defended, it's not just Mendy. Like
21 clean sheets.
Some games he's not even had to make a save.
Christ.
Yeah, 21 sheets this season for Edouard Mendy in all competitions. 14 in the league, 7 in the Champions League. That's ridiculous. You got to give credit to defense for a lot of that, but same way, the goalkeeper's keeping the goal clear. No one's having anything to do with it, and he is a factor for that. Whether you can say how big of a factor, how small it is, he is a big reason for it. And we see a massive difference in how comfortable the defense are when Kepa's in goal compared to when Edouard Mendy's in goal. The amount of mistakes we used to make as a defensive line when he was in goal, and it was clearly obvious that it was just they weren't comfortable with him there. Gup Jester as well, the donation saying, I agree with Scott, our offense isn't any better than last year. What's improved is our defense, and for me, Mendy or Thiago Silva is player of the year. Really and truly, I can only hear Edouard Mendy, and it's only Thiago Silva hasn't played enough games for me. I get it in terms of the quality of his performances, but it's a player of the season. You need to have longevity. Thiago Silva, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't even played half of our games this season. He's only
part of
had
the reason.
19 games.
It's part of the reason why Fernandes wasn't included last year for overall player of the year, player of the season, because he played half a season for United. You couldn't realistically include him in that. So yeah, I agree. Like Silva is an outside shout, but realistically, it's between Mendy and Mount.
Yeah, because if we start doing it based on periods of form, we can start throwing all sorts of players in. We can throw in a Rudiger.
I can try and push that Kai Havertz prop all I want if we're doing that.
Hudson-Odoi, anybody can get it if we're doing on that. That's why it's got to be longevity. On longevity alone, it's a two-horse race. There's Mason Mount, it's Edouard Mendy. It's one or the other. Artem as well says Mendy is good. He makes the saves he's supposed to make. He dominates in the air, and you can see the defenses trusting him. No need for a new goalkeeper. And honestly, with the other areas of the pitch that we need to improve on, like Scott, you already said it, fifth choice, maybe go for a goalkeeper. If there's not any other options that we need to improve on anyway, because Edouard Mendy's shown that we don't need to go for another one. We went for one after spending 72 million on a goalkeeper because he was that bad and we were that desperate for a goalkeeper that we had to go out and get one. We're now not desperate for it. Yeah, you could go for the best goalkeeper in the world. Like what? If Jan Oblak pops up, okay, cool, I understand. But that's a difference in quality. We're not in a position, though, where we're desperate. So, yeah, I agree with you as well, Artem. We don't need to go for a goalkeeper right now. If we are going to talk about the transfer window, though, and like this is the perfect way to segue into it, let's talk about the Tammy Abraham to West Ham news, because rumours have just been popping up today from very big West Ham sources saying that Tammy Abraham is now West Ham's #1 striker target for the summer. And Tammy Abraham has barely featured even in the squad for us. He was in the bench for the game against Porto yesterday, but that's only because we had more substitutes and we could actually put him on the pitch. Other than that, he hasn't even touched the pitch. He hasn't even touched the bench in our last 4 or 5 games. And it's clear and obvious that Thomas Tuchel doesn't really see him as key in his plans. And the question is, do we sell Tammy Abraham or do we loan him out? Because I still think the quality is there with that striker. It's not coming nearly as quick as people want it to. I expect Tammy Abraham to be at his best around the age of 25, 26. Before then, he isn't going to be Chelsea starting quality, and I accept that. But are we willing to let a potential Lukaku situation happen yet again? Scott, I know you have a lot to say on this, so we'll start with you. What are you saying, man?
This all depends on the contract thing. I think people get my stance on this very wrong, and I don't necessarily want Tammy to go if he signs a contract, because like the thing with Tammy is he can improve, he can get better, in the areas he needs to improve. There are a lot of them, but it's like with Werner's got the same thing. He needs to improve on some things, so it's both of them need to improve. The thing with Tammy though is he shouldn't be getting 180 grand a week, and if that's his stance and he's not budging, then bye, see you. Because you're not worth 180 grand a week. I don't care that he was a top goal scorer for 1 season. Like, should Michu have been getting 180 bags for Swansea because he was their top goal scorer for 1 season? Like, it means nothing that they were top goal scorer for 1 season. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Go and watch a stream Rance did with Matisse and DG before, where he talked about strikers. And it's what are you doing when you're not scoring? Outside of you scoring, because you can't score every game. You literally, unless you're a Lewandowski or a Haaland or an Mbappe or Ronaldo or Messi type level, you're not scoring every game. So what are you doing when you're not scoring? And Tammy doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anywhere near enough. So, and if he doesn't want to sign the contract, then sell him. Because he's English and because he's 23, I think. He's 23.
Yeah, he's 23.
Then you could easily get 50 mil for him. What did they sign Allah for? From Eintracht Frankfurt, and at the time
45, I think 45.
Yeah, and at the time he was part of the best strike partnership in the world at the time, and so like you can easily get 40 to 50 mil for him because of the English tax, and then you can use that to go and spend on a Haaland or go and use that towards a proper DM or a new centre back or whatever it is that you want to use it for. But for me, with what we know right now, get rid of him because 180 grand, it's not worth it. To upset everyone that he's going to be overtaking with their wage, to make him our second highest earner at the club, it's not worth it. And then you get that 50 million I said, and you spend it on something else that is more that will be better.
I get, and a lot of the things to the contract is probably his agent just talking in his ear, which is jarring in itself. But same way, it's like I get, but there's always going to be a question about do we give Tammy Abraham the same energy that we give a Timo Werner? Because you said correctly in the case of if you don't score, what are you doing? And it's the complete opposite for Timo Werner, where he doesn't score, but he usually does a lot more in general in terms of his overall play. But even then, that's starting to dip the last few games too. Like if we use yesterday as an example, even if he didn't get a lot of service, when he did, he just dropped howlers every single time. Was barely even dribbling in tight space without losing the ball underneath his own feet. And that's the same thing that we're criticizing Tammy Abraham for. So there's always going to be a question about same energies between the pair of them.
I agree, and I think we need to start seeing that. I on the review yesterday, I said Werner had a horrible game yesterday. I can't defend that as much as I want to. I can't defend yesterday because it was horrible. Everything that I said he was fairly decent at in the preview, he didn't show any of that. Show me to be completely wrong, and I think we do need to start showing some energy towards that. But I still feel Werner offers more off the ball or when he's not scoring than Tammy. There's a reason why Werner's got the most goal contributions as a whole. It's because he's opening up space to receive the ball to give it to someone else who runs into that space he's created. It's the fact he's playing off the last defender and he's able to make runs in behind. We just don't find him more often than not. It's the link-up play is actually fairly good from time to time. Yesterday was terrible, but so that's where if Tammy improves on these things, if he gets, he bulks up a little bit. I'm not talking Lukaku at United levels, but bulks up a little bit. Works on that first touch. His heading ability gets a bit better. His link-up play gets better. Then absolutely keep him and keep playing more. Give him the contract that he wants. But this is later on. Talking about right now, he's not worth 180 grand a week, and that's the major sticking point with all this. I agree with you when I say loan him out rather than sell him, so you can continue with his development. But that loan only happens if he signs the contract.
Yeah, I'll be real. Everything I'm hoping for, it all lasts on him actually taking a reduced pay pack, and I understand that as well. Johnny, talk to me, because I know you've been a big advocate for Tammy Abraham this season anyway, despite all the slander that he's been getting. What are your thoughts about a potential move to West Ham, and do you think it'd be best for him, and also do you think it'd be best for the club long term too?
Well, going to West Ham, let's have it right. That's a downgrade for Tammy Abraham, playing for Chelsea and going to West Ham. So, if I'm him, I don't even know if I'd be looking at going. I would want to go to someone in the top 5 clubs in the Premiership. If not, move to Germany or go and sort of build your trade over there. I could see him going to playing for Dortmund or someone like that. He might have a little bit more space and he'll probably score a lot of goals. And then who knows, come back. If that's the case, I'd want him to go on loan like that. I don't really want to sell him. If we're going to sell him, and it is to West Ham, like everyone's sounding it out to be, then maybe there's a potential of Rice going in the other direction. That's the only thought process for me with him going West Ham.
Yeah, but they already put an 80 million valuation on him. So that in mind, if we were to try and turn it the other way around and get Declan Rice in on the cheap using Tammy Abraham, how much money would you expect Tammy Abraham to take off that fee?
Well, he's got to be. Tammy is proven last year. Hasn't played. Well, he played first end of the season. He's had a bit of a topsy-turvy season this year. And I think that's due to the signings, really, and the fact that we've struggled to integrate our new signings. And then he's had an injury, and now Tuchel's not even touching him. He's not even risking him. And to be fair, I understand why he's not putting him in, because right now, would you throw Tammy, who hasn't played, into a quarterfinal Champions League? I wouldn't do it. And I don't think a lot of the fan base would do it. It's just not fair on Tammy. I think he needs to go get into another game that's not of that importance to just ease his fitness in. But he'd probably take off about, I'd like to say 45 million. 40
I'm
million
getting a lot of 30s, 40s, 35, somewhere around that. Wayne, you don't agree. What are you saying?
I've listened, and you know I've got respect for all you guys, but I don't rate Tammy as much as you're rating him. I don't even think you get 20, 25 million for him.
2025.
No, come on, Wayne. That's harsh,
Look,
man.
I respect Tammy for what he's done for us last season. Yeah.
Mm.
And I've got nothing against the guy. And I'm not saying he's an absolute dog's bollocks as a footballer. I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's on the Chelsea level, and I don't think he's in a top 5 level. I think he's a mid-table striker, from my opinion. I don't
But
think
is
he's
that
good enough.
mid-table right now, or mid-table in the future as well? You don't see him improving.
I don't see him improving.
Okay.
I'm not saying it because I'm being horrible to him. Because I think what he's done for us is brilliant, but he's not. He's got too many things that he doesn't do right. He's not for a striker. He's how tall he is for in the air. He's not very good in the air.
Mm-hmm.
He's ball hold up ball is not as good as it should be. He's not as strong as he should be because he's not like he's someone who ain't got a bit of built on him. He's got a bit of strength on him, and he doesn't even use that in the right way. He's like, I'm not saying, like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say he's one of what I don't know, one of the worst strikers you can ever think of, but he's a good player, but he's just not. I don't rate him as much as you guys are. And Johnny, right? You know what I think of you, but whatever you're smoking, put it down. We're not Rice. I don't want Rice.
Oh, it's a
Okay,
Wayne bomb. He's dropped the bomb. He's dropped it.
Rice isn't good enough. He's just not good enough for Chelsea. He's a mid-table player. Yes, West Ham are doing what they're doing this year, but he's not good enough for Chelsea. We need to get a world-class DM, not a mid-table DM, just to fill a gap.
Who is it though, Wayne? Who's world class, man, in that position?
Good question.
There isn't many at the minute.
There isn't many. That's the truth. But then you look at I'd rather go out and buy a Cannavaro or one of the guys in France who's very high rated, who's because they're saying he's going to be the next big thing, who's Real Madrid and all that linked with. Then go for Declan Rice. The only team who's been linked with him except for us is Man United. And what can Man United say about themselves? Look at how crap they are at the moment.
Yeah, but that
So,
you see, when they buy Rice, Wayne, that changes their whole dynamics and balance of their side completely.
Look,
It will do.
Rice is a top player, and I disagree with Wayne when you say he's not Chelsea level. I think he's good enough to play for Chelsea. I just think he's not what we need. I just think he's not the kind of player that's just going to sit and is comfortable sitting on his own. He doesn't do that. Like when you see him play for England, I always feel like he needs a Jordan Henderson next to him because him sitting on his own as a lone DM, I just don't see it as good enough. He's a quality player, but I don't think it's what we need and what we want right now.
But he's a sitting DM. That's what we want.
Yeah, I'd say he can work there. Plus, as well, I think he could be coached into that position by a coach like Tuchel. And you see it like even with West Ham, yeah, he's not necessarily the only sitter, but there are times when he does sit when Souček gets further forwards, or when he's playing with Mark Noble, because Mark Noble will drift a little bit. So I think he could work there with the right coaching. The price tag's the main sticking point. But if we can include Tammy in this deal for him, and we get it's like a 30 million or 40 million plus Tammy, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, but forget the money, guys. Forget how much he costs. Because Haaland's going to go for 150. Yeah, but forget it. As a player of Football Billy, is he good enough to play for Chelsea Football Club?
Not for 100 million, though.
No, forget. He's not going to be 100 million, but just forget the price tag. Is the player good enough to play for Chelsea?
For me, it depends on the system. If we play the current system we're playing now with 2 6s, yes. If we want him to sit as a lone DM, no.
But don't you think it's also the case that with Declan Rice, you'd be buying potential, which is also why you don't want to spend so much on him. But it doesn't mean it's completely sold that he won't be able to work as a lone DM. Maybe not right now, but he can be coached into that sort of role. Or he can play a 2-man pivot, which is what we wanted to see anyway. You could have him sit deep, and you could have either a Kante or Kovacic as the progressors.
you've got in pivots in world football right now. You've got like the Verrattis, the what's the guy for Bayern Munich? Kimmich, yeah, him.
Goretzka.
You know, they're like proven pedigree, world like top draw. But they're not going to. We won't be able to sign a player like that. They just won't sell them. So it's like
also, neither of them are DMs.
Yeah, not DMs, but if they play in a 2 pivot, you could play those. You'd go for one of those.
Yeah, we don't
go.
need someone that's going to play we need someone that's going to be a DM, a destroyer DM. That's the thing we're missing. And Rice definitely would work, and I think Rice would be a good player. It does, for me, it just comes down to the price tag. That's all it depends on, because I think he's good enough to play for us. It's just I'm not spending 100 million on him because that's stupid money. Like, I'd rather go and raid the French league, because as we've seen from the French league, for some reason they just seem to be producing quality DMs. Don't know why, but they just seem to be producing.
That's why everyone, the fan base, is so turned off with Rice, and they say no to Rice because of the price tag. But when you actually look at his footballing ability, he's good enough. He's a baller, man, and he's so young. Like, he's got an amazing pass on him. He reads the game. He's strong. He's Premier League proven. I mean, what more do you want from a player?
Wasn't the same also said about Maguire.
No, Maguire. Forget Maguire, man. Maguire's
but wasn't the same said about Maguire. All of the things you.
That's just tax. That's just English tax on him.
I don't think Maguire is a fair comparison, because like.
I'm not saying he's a fair comparison, but my point is that all these things we're saying about him, bar the reading of the game, always said the same about Maguire at the time when he was playing for Leicester, and as it's turned out, he's been bang average at best.
No, but he's like Maguire is playing at the level he was when he was at Leicester. He's the same. He's like the same player. Whereas you're buying Declan Rice, as he said, we're buying potential. We're buying a player who's going to get better. Like, he's very, very young. So, like. I like the idea of Rice, but I'm just not fully sold on the big price tag. That's my issue.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. It's just a price tag. That's what it is. That's what's deterring everyone away. It's not actually that is he good enough? Of course he's good enough. I think he's good enough, Rice. And I also think the other aspect is Chelsea Football Club don't want to be embarrassed in going and spending, your 70, 80 million on Rice when he was our youth player already in the first place.
Well, speaking of
that as well.
I think as well,
okay.
like.
Go on, Ryan.
There's so many other good DMs in, like, maybe not as good as Rice. They might be even better, but obviously they're not as high profile as Declan Rice. But there's like a lot of other DMs, like in the French league, German league, Italian league as well, and some of them are quite young as well, and some of them are DMs that Tuchel can develop as well, because he's good at developing young players. But yeah, I think we obviously need a sitting DM, and we might need a DM that might tuck in between the centre backs as well. And I think Rice can do that, maybe because he used to play. I think he can play centre back as well, though it's not his first position. So yeah, I think there are some good DMs, and I think Tuchel. I think we have to give Tuchel what he wants with the DMs, because I think that's something he's gonna have a say on.
Well,
yeah,
speaking
for sure.
of good young DMs from the French league, how do we feel about Trevor Chalobah?
Yeah, he's been doing what club has he been at?
Him or his brother?
He's at Lorient. Trevor Chalobah, not Nathaniel.
Has he been playing?
Oh,
yeah. He's
been falling out there apparently.
The only thing is they moved him to centre back recently, and he's been playing every game at centre back, and they haven't conceded a lot of goals.
They've been saying he could slot in there in Rudiger's position, in there.
Earlier in the season they were playing him at DM though, like, because that's his natural position. He's a DM.
Yeah, he had a good spell at Huddersfield the season before that too, didn't he? He's been quietly doing well for himself. Haven't even properly considered him yet.
And
if you got anything more to say about Chalobah, go for floor's yours.
I don't know. Do you know when it was he moved to centre back? Because I'm looking at their games and they haven't conceded more than a goal in a game.
He moved
for over a month, or for over a month.
I'm looking at it on like Transfer Market, the stat website. He moved there the 2nd of Feb. And then they've conceded one goal, and then their last game was a clean sheet.
I was going to say, like, in that whole period of time, they've only conceded more than one goal in 2
Whereas
games.
Before that, they've conceded 5 in other games. They've conceded 2s all before that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and like I watch the French league every week, so I don't really know how well he's doing. But he loves Chelsea. He wants to play for this club. And I don't know, is he worth a shot? Maybe Tuchel's watching him because he knows that league.
Pre-season, innit? Pre-season, maybe. You can see how
Maybe,
he does.
yeah.
Tuchel knows the league, innit? So he knows if he's good enough. He's watched him all season.
Yeah, I think Tuchel, what's it called? He converted, what's his name, Marquinhos into a DM as well. So you never
he's
know with
converted
Very
loads of
good
challenges.
DM, a world-class
He-
DM, not just any
he
DM, a
converted,
world-class DM.
He converted Guerrero from a left back to a centre mid,
Hmm.
and it's just worked.
I
Or
think-
the other
I
way
think-
around. I think he's either the left back to a centre mid or a centre mid to a left back, and it just works.
It's
So,
a mid
like,
to left back.
We need to snub Marquinhos. Imagine we just tried to snub Marquinhos and Tuchel gets him, man. That would be a dream.
The thing is with what we're saying, because we're all saying about he needs world-class DM. The thing is with Tuchel, if it sounds like what I'm hearing, it's the board that's going to buy a player. It's not going to be Tuchel. Because it sounds like to me the board is controlling the transfers at the moment. And I think that's why Frank Lampard fell out with the board because of that reason.
Wanted Jacob Tarkowski, and they gave him what's
So-
it called him.
I
Yeah, but
think-
if we were to win the FA Cup and get into the Champions League, do you not think he'd have a bit of say? Do you not think he buys himself some leverage?
If we won the FA Cup, maybe.
Yeah, like, as in if we had a good end to the season, like if we had
Yeah,
some.
but I still wouldn't take Jacob Tarkowski. I don't care if you win the CL.
No,
man.
I'm not talking
I'm
about
not taking
Tarkowski. I'm not talking about Tarkowski. I'm talking about. Do you think Tuchel would be able to bring in who he wants?
Any day, mate. I do think he will. I feel like they're gonna have to listen to him, man. The board make the same mistake here of fucking around and doing what they want, not what the manager wants. They'll just end up sacking him a year later, man. They've got to learn. The board has to learn this time, man. Round. They've got to get the players that he wants. Because
I think we just need to get the DM that Tuchel wants. I think that's gonna be. I think the striker. Yeah, I think if we get Haaland, Tuchel won't complain in it because that's
it's
like
Haaland.
a
It's Haaland.
The
generational talent.
board's
innit?
not
He
going to
won't care, but-
change their model. They will not change their model. If they want Haaland and Tuchel doesn't want Haaland, even if he wins Champions League, they will go and get Haaland. That's just the way we work. He might get one player or
Haaland's going to be like
but...
Havertz, man. You can't say no.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still a big
no.
decision because Tuchel might say, "Yeah, but I don't need that profile. I want this type of striker," and they'll go, "No, we want Haaland. We're getting Haaland." And that's where the you might have problems going down the line, but Tuchel knows he's got 18 months anyway. So it's like it's one of those.
That's what I
ones,
mentioned about Rice, because we're all talking about Rice.
Yeah,
And we knew Lampard wanted Rice. Lampard was he's a big fan of Rice.
Yeah.
And Paul said, no, we're not paying that for Rice. We don't want Rice for that much money. West Ham are going to stay in that price. They're not going to, they know if they don't get that sort of money for Rice, he won't be going anywhere. So why would Chelsea sit and say,
Rice
right?
wants Chelsea, bro. He wants Chelsea. I hope he just tries to force a move, man, or something.
Look,
It was 60
on last
million
season, the
at
price
start.
has gone up.
It was 60 million at the start, and they didn't want to pay. But you got to respect that the board went out and spent 240 million. Add another 60 million. That's over 300 million in one window.
Agent fees, bro. Agent fees and all that shit.
Fees. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of things, but that's a lot of wedge in one window. And you're not.
Bro,
backing,
we needed it. We needed it though.
And you remember, they weren't with the intention to back Lampard as well, knowingly. They knew they weren't going to back Lampard. That's how deep it was.
They wanted to sack him, apparently.
But
if
we backed Lampard, I don't know who we would have got. Ryan Fraser, James
exactly.
Tarkowski,
They waited for
I
this.
don't know, innit?
They're waiting for him to time score or for it to go wrong, man. You could
But
tell.
what we're saying, but can I just say something? Like, I'm listening to you guys. Like you said about the money, I agree with you. But then we're saying Haaland probably cost what 150 million this year if we sign him.
Euros.
Right, euros. But anyway, yeah. And then you're going to sit and say, right, here goes 100 million for Rice, 80 million for Rice. Still, what 240 million there. Do you think that Chelsea would do that when they get Haaland? Haaland being number one target, and then
because you're going to sell Barkley. They're more than likely they're going to sell Bakayoko, Drinkwater, Emerson.
Bakio's coming back, bro.
Loftus-Cheek, Tammy Abraham. Six players where that's 200 million's worth there.
That's
not all of those will get sold.
Yeah, we can't like. How are we going to shift all those players?
But also, we've made money on loans as well. Don't forget, on Bakayoko, we've made money on Bakayoko just from loans.
The hell is this, man?
Yeah, but you're saying
Tomori's to be sold, probably 25 million.
But
you have to pay
Napoli,
these 20 millions and 30 millions. That's paid for your Haaland, your Rice, and some.
yeah, but Napoli's resaid they're got to whatever his name is, they're not going to be in charge next season, and that's why Bakayko's there. So we're not selling him to Napoli next year.
No,
We
but
might not be able to get rid of him because he's not impressed anyone because he's not even playing for Napoli at the moment.
Yeah, he's not even playing.
That's one, but Wayne, that's one player. We've got Barkley, who's desirable.
Barkley's
He's not playing
been
for
bad,
He's not playing for Aston Villa. Johnny, he's not playing for Aston Villa.
He's been injured, hasn't he? He's been injured.
He's fit now. He's fit now.
No, he's been fit. He's been fit for a month, and he's not been even picked for the starting
It's
lineup.
been shocking. It's really shocking, man.
They still don't play him.
But you
Yeah,
know
but
what?
I know what you're saying, Johnny, but honest to God, there's players like Loftus-Cheek's not even playing at the moment. He's in and out the
He
team.
did. He played the last game.
No, he's in and out. He's in and out.
No,
He's
he's
been
first team. Loftus is first team for Fulham.
Loftus is
No,
first team. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't played first team. I'm saying the last month it's been in and out. It's been one game, and then they've been changing the lineup in different games. I'm not saying he hasn't played, but they have been changing it. There's been games that he has played, games that they haven't played it.
Can I say this
Depending
real
on
quickly?
what formation they've been playing. But what I'm saying is the players that we were saying we want to sell, there's only one player in my mind who's been playing. That's Tomori. Everyone else, you can say, hasn't been playing. Batshuayi, there's loads of them. And that is the truth.
Do you know what though? The problem we have, is that it's a COVID market. So, bro, it's impossible to sell players at the moment. People can't afford their wages. For example, Loftus-Cheek at Fulham, they can't afford his wages. He's on 150 a week, bro. So, unless we find a cut price,
we have to sell core members of the team if we want to get money.
He signed a new contract. Was it 100k or 150? He signed a new contract.
Not 150.
It's 100. It's 6 figures, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
Either way, Fulham ain't paying it.
Yeah. But look,
But you keep loaning, you're
Tammy,
taking the wages off the books at the very least.
Yeah. How much can we get for Tammy though? Do you think?
Yo, Lewis, rate the super chat first, bro.
Yeah, same for that. I was waiting for a little break for that. Mr. Paulito's Way says, agree with Wayne on the cost of Tammy. Sellers don't set the market. Clubs know we are dying to sell. Why do you think... Who's DZ? Who's DZ?
Zappacosta, Barkley, Loftus-Cheek, Drinkwater, Bakayoko.
Yeah, why
again? Drinkwater's
half
staying
of
in
that
for life.
as well is the wages. We have them all on stupid wages. Every single one of them.
Ridiculous.
Minimum. I disagree with the first point. I disagree with the second point. Sellers do set the market. Absolutely. Because if they have it depends how much they have to sell. And it also depends on stuff. Like Zappacosta is very much dependent on Genoa.
Because last season we could set our own market because we had the transfer ban money and it has the Morata money, but it still didn't mean people could afford our valuations. That's half the reason.
Look, if you want to sell a player, then it is. I agree. I think the sellers don't set the market. Like a player like Declan Rice, West Ham don't want to sell him, so they can charge whatever they want. But we can't charge whatever we want for a Danny Drinkwater.
Do we need Declan Rice? Honestly.
Yeah, we do.
We need a destroyer DM. We need someone of that.
A holding DM.
Declan Rice is not a destroyer DM.
The thing is,
someone who can sit deep and won't.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You know what's underrated about Declan Rice, though? I'm not gonna lie. His ball ability, his passing ability, is very underrated as well. So this is something he can add to the team. But it's just 80 mil is just too much. I don't.
Fatul, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
how is he not a destroyer?
It's about the money, not the ability of the player.
No, how is he not a destroyer, Fatul? How is he not a destroyer? Just a quick question. How is he not a destroyer? How's Declan Rice not a destroyer? You said he wasn't.
He's not.
I'm sorry, I haven't watched much of him this season, so.
He's quality, man.
He is a destroyer.
I've got one question.
He's a destroyer.
How good is he?
I'd take him for 80 million.
Guys, I've got a question. I've got a question for you guys. Yeah, obviously, I'm not gonna say anything too bad about Declan Rice. Yeah, but I just want to know. I don't want to be ignorant in it. Can Declan Rice? What's it called? Is he good at deep play and playmaking and playing balls in behind and stuff? Not obviously, he can't be Cesc Fabregas, but
he's got ball.
Yeah, he has got
but he's not that level, bro. He's not that level, man.
The pass that Jorginho played yesterday, Declan Rice.
No, let's bring up that stuff, Common.
Oof. We're not having a Rice Jorginho debate. What do you say, Fata?
I think Steph put up a comment about Declan Rice. Our board don't want him.
Oh, wait, one sec. Big up
Yeah,
Jess
I
to
don't want him.
the chat saying, would you not be okay with the
Bro.
two striker signs this summer being Lukaku and Daryl Dyke? I've heard of Daryl Dyke. He's at Barnsley right now, isn't he?
We're gonna have we're literally
He's-
gonna have
he's a-
all of Belgium strikers in our team.
Daryl
Get rid
Dyke.
of back to Rice
Who
first,
is
isn't it?
Daryl
Big up
Dyke?
Steph as well, saying people need to forget about Rice. Our board don't want it. Yeah, the board are embarrassed with the 80 million transfer
Oh, yeah,
fee.
by the
And I'm
way,
already
no.
saying, if it comes to Tammy Abraham, I could see him try and push for that sort of swap deal, but I don't want it because I want Tammy Abraham to go out on loan. My ideal scenario is he takes a cheaper wage extension and then goes out on loan to a mid-table club. That's what would be best for his development. But he has to
Lewis,
get
bro,
rid
do you know what?
of this
bro?
stupid idea that he's getting 100 a week because there's no way he's getting that. No way.
Kazi, I'll respond to him. My problem is if we sign Declan Rice, is he going to be another Drinkwater 2.0? That's my
No.
Different type.
Definitely not.
That's my only
I
concern.
was scared last season. I was scared because West Ham came 16th place last season, and this West Ham were asking for 80 million, and West Ham were finishing with score below 10th, man. Nah,
No, but
I'm
we
sorry.
can ask for 80 million from us. Not only is it their best player and they don't want to sell, we're one of their biggest rivals. Imagine having to explain to your fan base that you sold your best player to one of your biggest rivals. There's no way they could do that.
Do you know what the problem
And
is,
he's
by the way?
English as well.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah,
the
and
difference with Rice,
No,
the
technically
difference
not.
between Rice and Drinkwater is Drinkwater came from a team where they only play counter-attacking football. They sat deep and hit players on the break, so he didn't have to do anything. Like he had to literally pick the ball up, ping a long ball to Mahrez, and that was it. Whereas Rice, at least this season, is playing in a team that is actually progressive with the way they play. David Moyes has got them playing some good football most of the time, apart from a couple of games. But they've got him playing good football, progressive football. So he's not exactly jumping from a team where it's going from one system to another. He is going from one system to another in terms of it'll be two different managers, but it's not counter-attacking football to attacking football. It's playing progressive football to even more progressive football.
I like the way Declan Rice progresses the ball as well. He does that quite well as well.
He's a good passer.
He does. But there's two problems with him though. Number one is that we're going to be competing over United, I believe, because I think United need that.
United won't go for him.
You don't think so? But the thing is,
I've already been told by my mate who's a season goal who's got very close connections with the club that they are very, very interested in Declan Rice.
What,
and are
United?
potentially looking at they're potentially looking at Lingard going the other way.
That's what I mean, man.
As part of the deal.
What I would
Bidding
say
was
is,
dangerous.
if reports are to be believed, they only have 100 million to spend this year.
I don't believe.
Yeah, but aren't they
United.
getting rid of Pogba as well? Isn't
Don't believe
Pogba
that.
on the way
That's
out?
if they don't get rid of anyone. That's
Pogba's
if they
free.
don't get rid of anyone.
Pogba's going for free, I think, man.
He's
No,
got
he's
6
not.
more months. 6 more months on his contract after the summer.
6 months. Okay,
Oh,
maybe
I'll
after
go
this
for
summer,
Pogba, man.
so
I'll
they're
go
either going to
Pogba.
sell him this summer,
Of course, brother. Of course, John.
Or he'll
they
go for
just
free.
squeeze him
I
on
would
a
love
free.
Pogba.
Pogba's not a destroyer.
Pogba
Hang
can't
on.
have a. That would be a beautiful feat.
He's not, but I'll still play him.
Bro, we were
Can we
talking
not
about
talk
getting
about
the
Man
destroyer
United?
at the end. We're going to get
Where's
another
Chelsea?
box-to-box midfielder.
But you know what is
He's
Lewis?
not
Lewis
not
can't
really
play
an
like Pogba.
attacking midfielder.
No,
No,
but
but
we
play
ain't
like
going to
Pogba.
play him as a deep line playmaker, are we? This is the thing.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
could do. We could do.
No, don't force him to do that, man.
No,
No,
we aren't doing
Nah,
that.
he
No.
hates it, man. He hates it, man. You can see
Quick
it.
question to you.
Trust
Did you not
me,
hear what?
like,
He hates
I
playing
rate
there,
Pogba,
man.
I really do, but let's get players that we need. Let's
That's
get
true,
players
yeah.
that we
I
need
know
to
what
actually
you're
feel some
I wouldn't
profile.
put it past our
Start
board
doing
though. If they went for him, can you imagine if they just put?
Man United
they
has
know
no
about his
percent of
contract.
buying
won't sell him
another
to us, man.
name though.
Wait,
That's
if
the
we
thing.
if
It's
we bought
nothing
Pogba,
against his
I'd buy
quality.
his shirt tomorrow.
I'll say.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear
It's
that.
nothing against
No,
his
no,
quality, but bro,
It's the shirt
we
sells.
need a number
It's
6.
the money. It's the money they make.
Right.
Did you
Oh, he's
not
not
Can I
number
ask
six,
you guys
okay.
a question?
Probably
Right?
got policy.
Can you guys
One at a time. One at
ask you
one at
guys
a
a
time.
question?
When?
How many times is Man United sold us a player and then what have we done with it? Veron. What happened with
Have you got
Veron? He shut
We
on
didn't buy
us.
Veron.
Yeah.
We did.
I get you.
Veron for
Pogba-
Man
Yeah, but we
United.
didn't buy them
Be
from
like that.
United.
That's on
We
us. Veron was us being stupid because he flopped
Yeah,
at
we
United
did.
and he didn't work with us. Falcao was even dumber than that because everyone could see he was past it, and we still went and took him for a year. Who's that?
So,
at the
yeah.
back? I can't remember.
No, but
Right,
but the thing with that Veron and Falcao didn't work in the Premier League. They came to the Premier League and both of them kind of didn't adjust to it well. Pogba, you wouldn't have that issue.
Yeah.
No,
Do you
yeah,
know about
but I know
football,
you're
by the
saying
way?
that, but listen to what I'm saying, please. Let me finish my conversation.
Go
Right?
for it. Go.
Go on.
Them two literally came in, right? I know what you're saying about they weren't used to, but Man United passed them on to us. It's like, yeah, you can have him. We'll wait, and we pay for it. We was mug enough to say, here we go, have that money for him. But if Falcao, yeah, we didn't do that. But we still said, hang on, Man United, he came Man United, did nothing, but we can do better. So we came in and we wasted our money on it. But with us, what have we done? We sold them players. We sold them Matic. We sold them Mata. We gave them players, and they done something with it. Lukaku. We let
They were all
them beat
crap.
us
No,
for
Matic was crap.
Lukaku.
But all three of
That's
those
crap.
all three of those
That's crap.
players you mentioned, Man United fans will have like negative things to say about them. Both Mata and Matic were better at Chelsea. Lukaku was better at Everton than he was at Man United. It never really worked out for them, any of those.
Lukaku had like 12 goals in his final
But
season
what
at Man
I'm
United.
saying
It was
is,
shocking.
And he was
our
still the top
business
goal
for
scorer.
Man United is shocking. I will never want one of those players ever. Even if he gave me Rashford, and Fernandes, and Pogba at once, I would say no, thank you.
Come on.
Boy, come on.
That's
come
too
on,
much. That's too much,
on.
man.
They will
That's-
ask for 300 or million, but anyway, and we spend that money. They come play for us and do nothing.
They can't ask for 300 million. He's only got a year left on his deal.
But
They
these are
can't ask-
Premier League proven players, though. They're Premier League
Also,
proven.
they're performing in a team where their managers playing freestyle football.
Exactly.
If they come into play at Chelsea under
No
a system,
plan, no
under a proper
system.
manager, then you're completely talking.
Strict
Have you guys seen Man
regime,
United play
boys.
football?
Strict
What about
regime at
Tammy?
Chelsea.
Have you
Yeah.
guys
Hey,
seen Man United
absolutely.
play football? Man United's
No
football is
way.
honestly shocking at
Indi-
times, man.
Indiana is low-key terrified. He's low-key
Individual
like,
brilliance.
Speaking of
Individual
India,
brilliance,
No
man.
way it happens.
Football's
though.
shocking,
It's not
man.
No
happening, man.
way.
It's not happening.
Hey,
It's not
What I
hey,
will say,
stranger,
though,
stranger
Lewis,
things, mate. We pulled out that Torres deal out of nowhere. Stranger things have happened.
what I will say as well is, Lewis, you wanted a number 6. Technically, Pogba is United's number 6, so there you go.
There you go.
He's not good enough defensively. Like, he doesn't play. I don't think he enjoys playing that 6 role, man.
I
And the
know
way
he's
how
got
he moves with the
it.
ball.
It is,
The way how he moves with the ball, man.
it is a bit
He's
of football
tackle.
manager, us signing Pogba.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's fun, innit?
it's nothing
Yeah.
more than a bit of banter, but it just
By the way, guys,
I want to watch him play football,
His
man.
wages
It'd
would
be
be
funny, you know.
ridiculous.
Say we get like
He's
just
so
a sit in
talented.
DM. We play a 4-3-3, just playing Pogba. We don't play him as a sit in DM. We just have a sit in DM and just play Pogba and Havertz and that, man. That'll be proper vibes, man.
Oh!
No defensive, but that'll be funny, man.
win every game like 6-4 or something.
Yeah, every game would be 6-6 and that.
It'd be the
Free
funnest football
flowing-
you've ever
free
seen, but
flowing
fucking hell, we won't go
end-to-end.
anywhere.
By the way, guys, did you know what Jorginho's agent had to say today? Talking rubbish
Yeah.
again,
What?
man. That he was talking about
Gino.
like
Oh, I
he's
wasn't
saying,
even going to talk about that too much because it's just the agent chatting wax.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all.
like I feel like we give too much energy to the agents, man. When they talk rubbish, we like.
Mino Raiola.
They want you to
Cover it.
stir the pot. That's the thing. Like, so
Yeah.
don't
That's
let the
the
pot be
problem, bro.
stirred.
That's the problem.
Create a Twitter
Mino Raiola,
meltdown.
it's true, but you know when Mino Raiola comes into our club with Haaland, there's gonna be problems, man. Because this guy he creates unrest like in the team. We've seen it with United. Like, he's got them all on strings, bro. So it's tricky, man. Mino Raiola. Bro, he's a mad guy, man. Like he just says what he wants, does what he wants. Like, bro, distributes the whole flipping team, man. So it's sticky, man, with Haaland.
But you gotta make them happy, bro. If you piss off one of his clients, bring him on the bench and leaving him, I can't lie, man. He will get angry. But I think if you pay him the right agent fees and just we treat Haaland right, there's no problems, man.
Plus,
No,
as well,
because
there's
Haaland's going to go and get better, and then they're going to ask for another contract.
That's
And
why
then when they don't move it, they're going to create more unrest. That's what I don't mind. One Raiola guy. Don't give him 2 or 3 Raiola guys at our club because then that's too much power. You can try and get rid of all 3 of them in one go or some shit.
But that's the
Can
thing.
I
have a
question
Raiola
for
guy,
everyone?
It's got to be someone that's going to be at the top because, like, you don't want like a. I don't know. I don't even know who a Raiola guy is. It's mid-level, but like, if you go and get it to Haaland, that's who you want basically. You don't want someone who's kind of average or not brilliant.
Average.
But you see, the thing is, if we get Haaland and then, like, say Tuchel rotates him, what's his name? Raiola and the board might get onto Tuchel, man. That's the only
They
problem.
will.
I
Haaland
got
has
hear
to be a
background
star.
noise. I hear some background noise. Sorry.
Oh, bro, we didn't hear it the whole time. I can't lie.
Yeah,
but
what is it?
We got to run with it. Go for it. Wayne, you had a question you wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm going to ask everyone because obviously we was talking about the game last night. How did you think we responded from the result at the weekend to the game last night? Do you think we responded in the right manner, or do you think? Or do you think we didn't do enough?
It was
Did it right.
One at a time. Fata, Johnny, Kazi. Go for it.
I think last night that was the answer we're looking for. The mentality wise, everything went perfectly right yesterday. It was more to the fact professional performance. It was great response from the team itself. They all look compact. They all look cohesive in the unit. But all in all, I just think we have to keep it on a consistent weekly basis. And from this game onwards, since yesterday game, we got to treat like every game is a final. There's no looking back. Like, I'm not gonna, like, next game against Palace, I don't want us to be like casual like we did against West Brom. So we just need to keep the level of the intensity like we did yesterday.
Okay, cool. Johnny, what about you? What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I would say that we were very nervy, and understandably so, considering the West Brom. I found Jorginho and Kovacic a bit
Shocking, mate. Just say how it is.
bit nervous, and they were
Shocking.
so
Jorginho at least, mate.
That's a
Bro, the
terrible
guy
comment.
won man of the match.
He was not man of the match, man. I don't care. He was not man of the match, man. He paid for that shit.
I can hear
He
you
paid
say
for that.
Mendy was. If you're gonna say Mendy was man of the match, cool. I can understand that. There is
Yeah,
an
he
argument
was.
there.
Now, Reece James for me, man.
Other
Reece
than
James
that,
for me. Reece James for me.
Reece James,
Reece
you can have
James.
an argument too. Fair
Chilwell.
enough with him as well.
Chilwell.
Second half more. But to be honest, the
Jorginho
same
was
thing
not
with
good.
But he wasn't
No,
shocking,
we
though.
first half.
We could-
Everyone's giving him disrespect because Porto played well. But
Facts.
that's
Yeah, but-
Porto playing well. We
Yeah,
had
but
two
that's the whole
good
point.
midfields
Is
that
if
were
you
tackling
can't play
each
your
other.
best football, if the
Against
other team is
Porto.
stopping you playing your best football, then surely you can't be man of the match because you haven't played your best football.
He's not man of the match, but he wasn't
No,
shocking.
no, because
Right,
it's two separate teams.
He was average,
Like,
man, at
individual
times.
performances, they both played well to stifle him, but it doesn't mean that he lost the ball
Defensively.
numerous times either. Did you see howlers from Jorginho the entire game, or
I
was it
did.
just a lack
Okay,
of
I
impact
speak.
because we couldn't find our way forward to the front line?
I disagree.
Go for it,
I
Kevin. Go
I
for
hate
it.
the way how he was getting walked past by in the midfield, man. I
Fair
don't think
enough.
he offers anything good defensively, man.
I'll tell you what,
That's
Kazi,
my
but
biggest
listen,
issue
can I-
with
can I
him.
just-
It's only
It
because
was
he
'cause they
doesn't
were
lunge for
pressed.
anything. There's
They were
positioning with
pressed.
him.
It's not, man.
Listen,
Because he
when
didn't stop nothing.
Kazi, when Jorginho gets pressed, he's always in trouble. But at the same time, every single one of our midfielders, if they get pressed, we're in trouble because we don't have many press resistant, other than Kovacic, of course. We don't have any press resistant midfielders. So when there's a DM as Jorginho, we know he lacks pace. We know he lacks physicality. So if he
No,
can,
he should-
Can I add to at Slant's point? Yeah, what some of our fan base is mainly concerned though is Jorginho can be inconsistent at times. I
Yes.
genuinely think
I've only seen one bad game though since Tuchel's joined, and that was the West Brom match.
Yeah. Fair.
the truth is, we don't get the goal without Jorginho yesterday because he's the one who passed it in between the lines. So
Yeah, but then
It was
we don't
not
score
a great
penalties.
pass, man. Don't try and make a great pass, man. I'm not having that, man.
Don't do
No,
that.
no, no,
bro.
It was an average pass, man.
guys.
mate,
It was, no,
I
it
don't
was,
know how
it
you
was,
trying to overrate
it
that
was
pass,
a good.
man.
It was a good pass, but
It was
the
nothing
problem is
special.
him and
He doesn't do
Kovacic
it.
don't do those passes enough. Like
Yeah,
it
they
was a
don't do
good
it.
pass.
But it was a
They
good
just don't
pass.
do it
It's
enough.
the pass you want from your
And I think
midfield.
that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying he had a terrible game because he didn't, but if we're using the thing of he did as much as he could with what he was allowed to do by Porto, I feel as James did more by that same token. Like, James was much better defensively, was progressive going forward, was always the outlet, always,
Yep.
because of how high and wide he was getting. Same with Mendy, he was a lot better. Like, if
Yeah,
the
but I
benchmark
can't
is
lie. If we're
what-
going to talk about the performance throughout the match, like, I saw a lot of people saying Reece James was too pragmatic in the first half.
I disagree with that, bro. I disagree
Yeah,
with that. That's-
A lot of people
I
are
thought-
saying it. Like, this isn't me because I thought Reece James had a good game too. I thought Jorginho had a good game too. But if we're taking away from Jorginho's performance, then we got to take away from Reece
Well,
James'
every
performance.
can't take away from
time,
Reece James,
every
though.
time Reece was
No, because the
was
only
in
outright
acres.
man of the match that I think you can have a genuine argument for is Edouard Mendy.
Yeah,
because he
it's Mendy,
came in
for real.
clutch throughout the 90 minutes.
It was Reece James.
consistently.
Simply because the fact is, he dealt with players at a pace. The way how people were attacking around inside,
honestly,
he dealt
can
well
I,
with it, man.
honestly, there's
Yeah,
no one
so well.
clock that defense though. I thought AC4
Christensen
was
was
playing
brilliant,
alright.
man. Christensen was
He did.
brilliant.
Look,
for me, man.
a lot of our players were good. Like Reece James was good. Christensen was
Defensively.
good. But Mendy made like Lewis is saying throughout the game he made really good
Yeah.
saves.
He did.
So I think it's a no-brainer. Like he's
That save from the
Yeah.
corner.
I'm saying Reece
Yeah,
James,
I
right?
can easily hear a
Give it
Mendy
Mendy.
argument for man of the match, and I understand that one, but it's not to take away from other players' performances either.
not
I
at
feel
all.
like Jovic both had a good game against a tough Porto midfield.
Can I say
And they
this?
showed themselves yet again. Same thing
You
with
know
the
what
back
it is?
three. They,
Was
I
Reece
think
James-
everyone.
was
I think
Reece-
everyone's basically looking at the fact that we couldn't play the way that we normally play with the Jovic
Reece
pivot.
James could.
Because of the way that Porto pressed us so well, and our only outlet was Reece James or Chilwell on the wings. That's why you think, oh, Jovic didn't have a good game, but they did play well. I mean, they were under immense pressure, and to be fair,
He didn't deserve it.
Havertz was nowhere. I mean, Havertz and Werner were nowhere in the game.
Yeah, no, but to be fair, in
No,
the
I'm not
first
having Havertz, Vander. I'll take Werner, but I'm not having Havertz.
but even Werner,
He wasn't in the game, Scott. He was
Guys,
not.
the midfielders not giving the ball up to the midfielders weren't doing their job, man.
Hang on. If we use
they were being pressed by a good Porto midfield. Like I'm saying, you have to give respect.
It was congested.
Yeah, but
so many times I've spent the last 24 hours. One of our biggest problems as fans is that we don't allow an idea that an opposition player can come and give us a test. They tested us.
Absolutely.
The whole first
Porto
half, they
testing you.
tested us, and we
Porto
passed the test.
Porto testing you. If Porto testing you.
I get getting on Werner because he had a horrible game. Like every time he got the ball, he did nothing with it. But this thing with Havertz,
Here we go.
How you do whatever that ball, bro?
But Havertz,
If you're getting at
Werner were
Havertz,
taken
if you're
off.
getting at Havertz,
The moment they were taken off,
Exactly. No, do you know what?
You got to
One at a
respect.
time, guys, please.
You got to respect the moment that Havertz and Werner were taken off.
I don't care about
changed
the
and
Spurs
balanced. It balanced us completely.
Can't stop?
Balanced us completely because Havertz and Werner were both lost in that game. They didn't do enough.
No, well, can I like just say one more thing? Like when it comes to
Havertz,
when it comes to Havertz and Werner, they were our forwards. Yeah, there was never a moment in that game that they were put through. Werner in the first half, so many times was on the last shoulder, calling for the ball. He never gets it. But that's the story of Werner's career at Chelsea. Every single time he's running off the back, he doesn't get the ball. When the ball was played through to Mason Mount, he scored. When the ball was played through to Pulisic, he hit the bar. Those chances didn't fall to Werner and Havertz.
Werner would never score
It's
those.
not
And do you know the one time that Havertz did get in and play it? Was when he set up the thing across goal in 6 minutes, but no one was in the box to finish it.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that Havertz
headed out. He got as well, man.
That's one chance we hardly created.
What did Giroud do then?
What do you mean? What did Giroud do? Giroud held the ball, bruv. What do you mean?
Absolutely fuck all.
He didn't do much.
No, he didn't. He held the ball and allowed Pulisic to flip in attack. You know it. It changed the whole dynamics, bruv. It changed the whole dynamics. The balance of our team was much better, and that's how Chile scored the second goal. Because if you'd left Werner and Havertz on the pitch, we wouldn't have scored that second goal. It wouldn't have happened.
Let's be honest. For 30 minutes, we weren't great, yeah? And I'll be honest with you. Listen, we were kicking the ball up for Havertz in the air. I don't understand why we would do that. It's not his strengths.
Yeah, but he can't hold the ball like Giroud.
No, but I'm sorry.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. But at the same time, we weren't giving the ball on the floor to Havertz or Werner. They will starve the service, bro, the whole game. And then Giroud came on, and the same problem happened, which shows you it's a problem in the team. It's not the players, bro, right? For that game specifically. Because we were getting pressed so harsh, bro. Like, I'm not going to lie. We had no time on the ball, so we kept kicking it high to Havertz. Imagine doing that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not his strengths.
You had to go down the wings, and then you didn't have enough trickery, all right? So when Pulisic came on, he offered trickery, and he forced fouls. And Chile would allow Chile to do what he did with the second goal. And there was moments where we were pegged back, and the ball went to Giroud, and he did hold the ball up, and he held it with strength. Havertz was not doing that for me.
Wait, guys, Wayne, you had something you wanted to say. Go for it.
All right. There's one I want to say to you, panel, and then I'll say my point. Please, can we just one at a time? Because everyone's jumping at each other, and like Scott was trying to get his point across, he wasn't allowed to get his point across. Then someone else went. It was, let's be respectful to each other. Let's all have our points separately, listen, and then say our points afterwards. But my point is, right, Scott was right. We can't. I've got to defend Scott here because he's right with Havertz, right? Havertz, we can't say anything bad because I think Havertz didn't have that sort of bad game yesterday. I think the reason why Havertz didn't look as good as he did with other games is because, unfortunately, he had Werner next to him, and Werner had a real shocker.
Fucking up.
So he was doing everything up front on his own.
Let him finish.
It's because we couldn't go down the middle, Wayne. We
Right,
were
listen,
blocked down the
please,
middle.
wait,
That's
wait,
where
wait,
Havertz is
there you go.
wait, finish it up.
It's not fair.
Right, John, I've got respect for you, mate, yeah? And I know your points where you've heard, but you're getting too passionate. You need to step back, have a deep breath, right? We're not sitting here slagging people off. We're not sitting here saying you're wrong with your points. You got your point. But what we're saying is our points and what we're seeing, all right? And I personally think Scott's right.
I was going to say as well, you've literally just made my point for me by saying we couldn't focus through the middle. So Havertz got no service.
Exactly.
So thank you. And with the point on Giroud didn't do any of those things because he didn't touch the ball for 10 minutes after he came on.
Exactly.
No, but
That's how much they were pressing.
But what I'm saying is when Giroud was on and we were going on the outlets on the wings, you've got a focal point who's strong. It caused them problems defensively. They had to think twice about it. Whereas in the first half, we didn't have anything like that. We couldn't even go down. Reece James was in acres of space countless times, and no one found him because we kept going through the pivot, and the pivot kept getting blocked off. And that's my point. The balance was added when you brought Giroud, a natural central striker, and Pulisic. That is my point.
Pulisic,
I'm not being offensive or anything. I'm not. You know what I mean? It don't bother me because at the end of the day, Money May scored the most clinical, important goal.
Yeah?
At the end of the day, we won.
No one else done it. Werner didn't do it. Havertz didn't do it. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're big up to Money Mace. And then
Can I
the
ask a
second half,
question?
Chilwell was allowed to score the second goal because of the Giroud and Pulisic substitution. Yes,
No, it was not, man. It was a mistake. It was a mistake.
It was
a mistake, man. It was a mistake, Johnny.
He was determined, man. He was
Johnny,
determined.
come on, man. You slump. The way
If
he
you look
had
at that second goal, it was more Kovacic banging the ball to the left-hand side. It was a okay pass.
If you
But eventually,
can't see the
Porto
balance
defender
like
made a
that, I don't
mistake.
know what to
If
tell you.
Corona
I don't
doesn't make
say
that
it.
mistake, that goal doesn't score. That all comes from his mistake.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
If he controls
But
that
look
ball,
at the
we're not
defense.
scoring.
Their defense was struggling with Giroud's physicality,
No,
his
Johnny,
intelligence.
no.
Let's
bro.
pick.
His intelligence, man.
Johnny,
Giroud's
no.
intelligence,
Johnny, no, man. No, Johnny.
Yes, his man.
Stop it.
Loads of times he was holding up the ball for us.
Johnny,
linking
stop
up
it,
with
man.
Pulisic.
Stop it.
No,
Can I ask a
Kazzy,
question?
shut up, man. You're just trying to trigger me, mate.
Can I ask you a question, lads?
It's facts, bro.
Yeah, go for it.
All right,
Johnny,
so
stop the waffle.
we keep talking about how Porto played the game and how it affected our midfield and how it affected the way we sort of set up. Yeah, in the second leg, we're in the same stadium. We're home, but we're in the same stadium. Do you think that's going to affect the game and how we play it, especially considering they kind of need to score 3 goals?
They're not beating
In a
us,
way,
man.
yeah, because I think
They're
they
crap.
might open up a bit more and they'll have different personnel, I think, in areas. Like, I feel like they might end the game how they started in terms of having Corona at right back and Conceição at right wing, because then you've got more attacking impetus down that right-hand side. But apart from that, I don't know, just because apart from Oliveira and Taremi, they had their full team. So I don't know how much different in terms of personnel. In terms of the way they play, maybe they might go 2 up top instead of having the 4-3-3 that I think they had against us, but I'm not entirely sure.
Do you know what, though, Oscar? What I was going to say,
go
bro, is I don't think the game will be that different, bro. Because I think that, you know what? They went for it in first, as I said, first 30 to 40 minutes. They went for it
They
before
were
we
the better
scored.
team.
Yeah, they were the better team. They
Okay.
created more chances. I think maybe, as Scott said, it will be two up front. But listen, defensively, we saw we could deal with them. Just with the experience of Rudiger and Aspie. Rudiger, I'm not going to lie to you, so much respect to him, man, because he's proven to be one of our most important players. He's come in, but he does the shithousery stuff and he does the captain stuff. Him and
Frank
Aspie working together. Exactly, bro. But for me, I think nothing will change. We just need to play our game again, bro. I'm not gonna maybe Werner shouldn't play again because listen, I'm not gonna lie. On the
Here we go.
On the board, not great.
Player.
Here we go.
Well, I'm
Straight
not
from the
criticizing the player.
Why you say there we go?
Yeah.
Don't change the defense. Don't break the defense.
I'm criticizing the player. It's fine, but he wasn't good. We can swap him out for someone else. We got players on the bench. That's what I'm saying. So
I can give Odoi a chance, man, or something, man. Give somebody else
Oh
a
yeah,
chance.
can I just say,
I
Lewis,
actually would, to be fair.
after yesterday's result, I was absolutely buzzing. Yeah. Then later on, a few hours later, I watched a stream that you put on afterwards, right? And I heard Jester come on here and try and come with that
you said you wanted to talk about that.
I
didn't
was fuming because it's just so not fair. It's just so not fair. Like, the kid doesn't get an opportunity, and literally in a game like this where Werner is horrible,
Bricking it up,
horrible.
bricking it up, man. Bricking
Like,
it up.
how can you say he doesn't deserve to start? At least the game against Crystal Palace. Like, put him at left wing. Simple as that.
But we didn't
His
play
first
well
touch is a
yesterday at all.
shocker.
We didn't
His
play
first
well.
touch is a shocker.
We
man.
played poorly, and we won. And that's
We did.
That's
We did.
everything you need to know.
But it doesn't matter. It's Champions League.
Testament to a good
Yeah,
team.
it doesn't matter.
Why
Champions
win the
League.
Champions League?
Performances don't matter in Champions League.
Yeah,
It's
in
a
the
result
Champions
that
League.
matters.
Oh!
Where's this from?
Died.
One sec. Stephanie just sent me a photo to put on here. The passing lanes from the game yesterday.
Fatal.
Give me a
How was
second. I'm
Werner's
gonna put it up
performance
because I want you to see it. Like a service that we had to deal with.
To be fair, I
Fatal.
actually would probably, I wouldn't be opposed to playing Hudson-Odoi. And you know what? Maybe even Tammy against Palace.
No, no,
Is
no,
he
no,
even
no,
that's
no, no.
injured or Hudson-Odoi,
Not
or is
Tammy,
he
not
like?
Tammy.
I
Not
thought he picked up an injury that after
He's
that
not
international
injured.
break.
He just got a little shoulder injury. Just a little shoulder also got knocked. Just not a
Why
little
you
shoulder.
don't play-
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
It's
I
why he didn't
reckon
play that
that
much
he
at the end of
tried to
21.
ease him in.
Oh,
He tried to-
Jess is piping up in the comments. He said he doesn't deserve to start. I need to have him on because he needs to explain to us why Pulisic has
Joe,
Get him on, bro. Get him on. I want to chat to him.
What are you on about?
If you want, I'll send the link.
To be fair,
I've got to jump off, Lewis, man. I've got to jump off.
Yo,
please.
Johnny, yeah, take care, man. Thanks for jumping on anyway.
Cheers, Johnny.
Yeah, Jeff,
See you
if
later,
wanna
lads.
hop on,
Yeah,
Johnny.
Johnny.
This is the start. Oh my
Aye,
god!
but guys, I feel like in the Porto game, when Pulisic and Giroud came on, I feel like they didn't really touch the ball until what's his name, Azpilicueta and not Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Kante came on. Azpi moved to right wing back. We had the three in midfield. Christensen moved to right centre back. I feel like that's when we looked at our strongest, because I feel like the first 5 to 10 minutes of Pulisic and Giroud coming on, they barely got any touches together, and then as soon as we made the other two subs, that's when we saw them the most.
I think Pulisic worked because he could do what someone mentioned. I can't remember who it was. When he played on that last defender, got the chance for the second. I can't remember if that was before or after. Kante came on.
When he rattled the bar.
Yeah. Was
the
that
bar,
before
yeah.
or after Kante
That was a
came
great chance.
No, that
Yeah,
was
there was-
before. That was before.
there was a couple of moments like that. I feel like I agree in terms of Giroud because I feel what it did is we then had superiority in the midfield and we could play more in the centre rather than out wide as much. And I thought that's when it was.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick? I want to shoot you guys a question real quick, man. Just a real question real quick. Are you guys not scared about Werner and his form?
Yeah. And after yesterday, I am, because
It's been 6 months, man. It's been 6 months, yeah. And I'm getting scared.
No, it's true.
I'm what's listen. I'm so
How can it be reactionary when it's
Ryan,
been
I'll get you back on in a second. Just want to get jesters on, all right? Bless.
It's been 6 months, yeah, and I'm scared for the guy, man. Like I don't wanna, like I know I've dissed him a lot, I've slammed him a lot, called him this and that. I'm getting scared.
Try again now. There's room.
I think
I'm generally
for me-
scared for Werner, man.
It's as I said earlier, like for me before he was doing other things, whereas like yesterday, if he has more performances like yesterday where we're basically carrying him through games, then yeah, like more games like that where we're just carrying him and he's offering nothing, then I'll worry because then like you're effectively playing with 10 men every game. But if it's games where he's still offering us stuff, even if he's not scoring, then no. But games like yesterday, then absolutely yeah, then I will worry.
You're right.
Yeah,
So,
I
no,
wanted to
that's
show you guys
one.
this as well.
I agree.
Look at
Talking
that.
about
Most
passing
progressive
lanes, you
pass.
can
that's
clearly
nice.
see how hard it was for us to try and find options into the middle because of the press. Where's Cat?
Do you think more? Do
Look
you
at
think
that.
more teams will look at that and just decide to press Junior and Kovacic a lot more?
No, because
They should do.
more teams will try and do it, but it's about whether they can do it.
Look
Porto
at that.
were
Look
really
at
good
that pass map.
yesterday.
Timo Werner barely didn't get any services. So
Didn't even try.
No, he got the
No,
ball.
no,
He was trash with it, bro.
struggled for
He got the
service.
ball and he got was trash with it.
But again, you're going to say this is the toughest press that we faced, and look who the most progressive passer was in that game.
Exactly.
Who was that?
Can I just ask a question?
Really?
What am I
Yeah,
seeing in terms
most
of the
progressive
arrow?
passer in Jorginho.
Jorginho
Look,
Fellow.
can I ask a
I don't
question?
know about
What
you,
am I
bro.
looking at in
I
terms
watched
of
that
the
game.
arrow?
He did not look progressive when he was passing, man.
Yeah, I
I
don't really
watched it.
understand. Can someone explain this
You
diagram?
can
What does it
say
mean?
that, but the stats are there.
Yeah.
He was our most
No, the
progressive
stats-
pass out of all
The
of our
stats,
players.
mate. Use your eye test, man. The eye test.
I was going to say
Yeah,
the stats are
absolutely.
misleading.
It's an eye test too, but
You need
why do
stats
you think
as
this
well.
man won man of the match? Because it's about the eye test too. You have to watch that. Watch
He did
the
not
game.
get whipped man in the match, man. I'm sorry.
Watch
He did
the
not get
game
man
and
in the
tell
match.
me what howlers you saw from Jorginho in that match.
He didn't get howler. He was
I
just
didn't
average.
see any.
Just average. He was
No,
just
he
average.
was not average.
He wasn't
What do you mean average?
He was average.
Come on.
He was
No,
just average. The first half.
okay.
The first half.
Yeah.
The first half.
Guys, it's an
He was
agenda,
so
my
good.
friend. It's an agenda. Oh.
No,
He was an agenda, bro. Like, Reece James had a better
battle.
performance than Jorginho. Christensen, the whole defense had a better performance protecting Jorginho, man.
That's fine.
No,
Kazi.
the defenders had more to deal with.
I think
We
yeah.
had more of the ball in our own defensive third, so they had more to do. That's why they looked like they
Johnny
did
was
better.
What did he offer us defensively when these guys were pinging the ball around us, man? Getting multiple chances inside the box, yeah.
But did we
What was he
concede,
doing?
though,
It's just the standard Jorginho
It wasn't.
performance.
It wasn't.
They
It wasn't.
didn't get
He didn't concede
multiple
it. The
chances.
defenders
Come on,
were
man.
doing their job. The defenders behind him.
They didn't
get
get
it, bro.
multiple
Defenders
chances
behind
in the
him.
box.
I don't know
Ball
about
out.
he was the one in position. Kovacic was the one progressing the ball forward. Jorginho was the one stringing passes. The whole
Look at
He
game.
was stringing no passes.
He
We never got
was
stringing no
stringing the
passes, bro.
fuck out of those defenders. Not the defenders,
No, he
the
was not.
midfielders, my bad, especially in the second half.
He was spinning who? Spinning who?
I can't
what you
I can't name the
Nah.
Porto midfielders. I can't lie.
He wasn't spinning no one, man. Defensively.
Hold on.
Defensively, yeah.
Can I ask you a
Right, let
question?
me-
Kev?
Big up, Lewis. What's going on, man?
Yes,
Look,
Jess. Sorry, I didn't
Hey,
get
what
in.
do you want, Slens? Who's saying that? Who's coming
Oh,
on?
it's the.
What's
That's
that?
your
Before
guy,
this
bro.
happens-
No,
I'm looking forward to hear this about
Yeah.
the show. Go
Before
on.
this happens, Lewis, quick question. I don't remember. They only had like 1 or 2 chances in the box, didn't they? And that was Marega that Ed Mendy saved, and that was it. Apart from corners, they didn't have
Yeah,
any
exactly,
chances
from the
in
corner.
box.
Yeah.
Most of
No,
the
they won't
chances
change
came
the
from set pieces. Because
And outside box.
that was the most surprising thing for us.
They just came close to our box, but they never
We
created
didn't
anything.
we
Yeah, they
expect them to be dead aerially, but they had so many chances in the air from us that game.
There was no penetrative passes from them that split our
There wasn't.
defense.
Guys, the
There was
facts
Yeah.
are
one,
the most
one or
dangerous
2,
chance
but nowhere
was
near
from the
enough to
corner.
win.
Yeah,
Right,
the
but
most
apparently we were
dangerous
getting overrun in midfield, but there was barely
were.
any balls into defense.
nonsense.
There was
bro,
barely any
Well, we-
balls to our third from the
We
middle
were,
of the
our midfield
midfield.
did get overrun. Our midfield did get overrun.
No, they just struggled to find passes into Havertz and Werner, and that was it.
Yeah,
That
but
not getting overrun.
we were a lot deeper.
No,
as
it's
well.
not. No, it's not. It's just that's making it hard to find a pass through. That doesn't mean we're being overrun. They're not overrunning us.
For me, it looked like what's called the midfield was struggling defensively, man. I felt like we were missing
Guys,
Cancelo.
you know what you're doing?
No,
Guys,
they
you're
were
letting the last
struggling
game
with the
affect
press.
your
They
men-
weren't struggling
your judgment.
defensively.
You
Huh?
weren't.
What do you say?
They weren't struggling.
I'm saying you're letting the
No,
last
what does
game
Len
affect
say?
your judgment. I'm saying you're letting the last game affect your judgment, bro. That's the facts, bro.
I'm not
sorry.
letting nothing affect the judgment.
No, you
man. It's
are.
like you
You are,
guys.
bro.
You want a
Because
baby? What's called this Jorginho
Nah,
guy?
I-
29 years
It's not
old,
baby.
and he
Forget
moves like
it.
a golf cart in the midfield, bro.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a literal
I
golf cart in that
I
midfield.
lean more towards Kazi's side than the other side. I don't think Jorginho was bad, but I think
He
our
wasn't
defenders
bad.
were better.
Exactly. They protected him, man. The
Our
way how this
defensive
guy
play
You can have.
was
I'm not saying
I
he's
saying that.
agree with that.
protecting him, man. Like the amount of times the ball was getting pinged around, and the guy would just stand there because he's so freaking slow, turns like a lorry in a side street.
Scott. Big
Can't
up
get the
Artem as
ball.
well, saying they just pressed us really high. They had 4 to 5 people around Jorginho and Kovacic when we tried playing out the back. All we could do is boot it upfield. Look at that, and then tell me, how do you blame a single player for having to deal with a 3 to 4 man
I said
press?
the whole midfield. I said the whole midfield.
What do you mean the whole
Okay, at least
midfield?
we're throwing Kovacic
The whole
into it as
midfield.
well. But again,
Kovacic,
how do you
Jorginho.
blame them for having to deal with a strong press from the opposition? The opposition presses
They look for
us
strong
well.
press from
We
Fleet
just have to
Porto, man.
maintain it, and we maintained it throughout the 90 minutes.
We
What I
did.
would
A
say as
strong
well is
press
this-
from
these are-
Jorginho, mate. I'm
these are
very
two
proud.
different conversations we're having.
No,
Where
he
in terms
Go
of
for it,
you
Scott,
having
go for it,
one
Scott.
conversation where it's whether he deserves man of the match, and I think it's not unanimous, but there's a large portion of us that say he doesn't. But then it's
Doesn't
another
deserve
conversation
it.
to say that.
He was
Then it's
gone.
another conversation to say that they were overran, which they weren't, because they had 2 chances where it got through our midfield, and one was an error where Marega got through and it was a good save, and it was a Diaz shot from outside the
You're
box.
telling me the guy was passing sideways the whole time. You're telling me about 93% pass
That's not getting overrun.
accuracy.
That's not getting
Accuracy.
overrun.
When, all right,
Guys,
when we came
passes
into this
and
game,
backward
do you
passes,
guys
man.
do you
You're
guys
talking about
think
pass accuracy, man?
do you guys think, because when we play in the Premier League, right, a lot of the teams we play, we dominate possession, and under Tuchel it increased even more, right? Do you guys
Yeah.
think that was our aim going into this game, or we wanted to let them have the ball and come at us?
You wanted more.
No, it was possession.
I think it's possession.
We
It's
want
just
if
saying
I-
that
possession.
If our aim was that, then I don't think that the pivot was great.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of
Look,
that came from
look,
Kovacic as well.
We were pushed back in our own half for most of it.
But there was,
Yeah.
I think
Most
there
of the
was, there was
first half. The one thing I'll give credit to Mason Mount because we needed that moment of magic for him to really
We did.
try.
It was brilliant. It was.
And
But
but
you're not
that's
saying that was called
players
Kovacic's
regardless.
free ball. It wasn't a free ball, bro. It was a.
I think if we're being
It
honest,
was a good pass.
It was a good pass.
It was a good pass, but it was not a free ball, bro. Trying to make it out, man, because he makes us
Not a
cool.
through
One of
ball.
those passes out of
It
a
was
thousand
a through ball, but it was still an
But I
assist.
Passing between the lines, man.
Yeah, it's in between the lines.
It was between the lines,
That
bro.
wasn't
He
a through
spun
ball
around.
because it didn't get
It was
played
not
into
between the
his face.
lines.
It got played into
It was
his
not
feet
between
and
the
he made
lines.
the turn.
Listen,
It was,
Kazi,
it
you
was
have to
much more.
understand,
It was.
none of us.
It was
Wait, Kazi, listen. None of us are saying he was man of the match. Yeah. Number one. Number two. When the facts say he had the most progressive passes, it's fact. Yeah. Number three, you're talking about
Nate never
sideways.
had progressive
Wait,
passes, bro.
Let me finish, Kazi. Let me finish. You're talking about sideways passing. When someone's pressing you, three people are pressing. Where do you pass it to? Forward in front of them, or do you pass it to
Actually, I'd
the side?
say lob the ball over, lob the balls caught into spaces like
Bro,
Rich
what is
James.
this, man?
He tried to lob the ball to Rich James, bro. I'm telling you, listen. Jorginho was getting
y'all are
fully getting
arguing.
pressed here. Even the centre backs, bro. I've got to criticize centre backs, man. You should have been pinging the Rich James with so much space here during the whole game. The whole game, it's so much space, man. The way how was scored when Porto was pressing us, they left the wing back that was scored. The width was so exposed, man. Rich James and Bencho in so much space, man. We could have played more balls to them, and that's centre backs as well, man. Centre backs have to take some blame for that as well. Because some of the balls from there were shocking.
Of the two midfielders, I'm not counting Kante because he didn't have that long. Of the two midfielders, Jorginho was the better one. At least he played forward passes. Kovacic, every time he took it past 3-4 players and he played it fucking backwards, man. Every time he played a long pass, it was overhit. Every time.
Yeah, and there was one chance he had easy pass to Reece James and he overhit it and it went out for a goal kick. And I was just like,
passing is
long ball was overhit.
Kovacic is a bench player. I've scored. I understand his weaknesses, man. Like in the final 30, he's shocking, man. He can't shoot, he can't pass. He's a ball carrier.
Who are you gonna play right now?
Play it.
Jorginho's average and Kovacic is a bench warmer.
Okay, let me put this argument to rest. Hold on.
I don't think they're world class.
Let me put this argument to rest.
In the way how you guys.
One at a time, please. One at a time. So, guys watching, it's just a bunch of noise, please.
Let me put this to rest. I am the biggest Jorginho hater on this panel. The one thing I will never hate on him is his distribution.
Thank you.
If you want to say something about Jorginho, or two things actually, is defense, and he is not. You can press him and dislodge the ball. Those are the two knocks against Jorginho. Distribution is not one of them. So if you want to talk about his passing, you're going to miss me with that. And I think Jorginho should be out the door. Where he is, so where he falls down is on the defensive end. It's like, if you remember this play, I think we had a corner kick and it was bobbled around in the box, and he was meant to be outside the box to stop a break. And the guy just went right past him, and he's slow as a snail, man. And he has
like a lorry in a side street.
Man, call him a snail. Wow.
He's a snail, man. He's so like a golf cart, man. He's an actual golf cart.
He's slow. That's a fact, Father. You can't say that he's fast.
I'm faster than him. On my mother's lap, I'm faster than Jorginho.
He's about positioning.
Right.
He doesn't have that position, though. He's not good enough defensively. Positioning.
The amount of because he's in the right position so many of the times he don't even.
Yeah, but he's not good defensively though.
When he gets caught out, it looks bad. I get that, but more time he doesn't get caught out nearly as bad as people or as often as people make it out to be.
He goes missing. He doesn't get caught out. He goes missing, man. Like when it's time to stop a counter attack here and actually make a tackle, he's nowhere there to be seen.
Missing other than the West match.
I was here for the Cho debate, but I guess we haven't. Yeah.
But since Tuchel's joined, when has he been caught out other than the West Brom match? Or that Everton?
He hasn't been caught out too many times.
Other than the Everton slip.
The system is set up so he won't get caught out. Yeah. That's why we pay a back three, because we don't have a holding.
Right. So if you want to call him a system player, I can understand that.
I'm not going to call him system player, man. Most deep line playmakers are system players, man. So I'm not going to go score distribution like that. Most of them are. Most of them are. A lot of them are.
How you can be.
Like who?
No, I understand he's not.
We'll have this debate now.
Fine. But we're not going to sit here and say he's washed or anything like that. Nowhere near. He's been one of our best players the last 3-4 months.
Lewis,
so
the main problem I have,
this level of disrespect on his name.
Bro, I'll say one last point. The main problem for me, is that when he does well, it gets ignored. But when he does, like the West Brom game, which is understandably, it was a disaster class, it gets taken out of proportion to massive.
You know how many people were waiting for a game like the West Brom match? people were itching for a howler like that, and everyone was on his neck. And this is half the reason why I'm glad he won man of the match today, because it's vindication. That West Brom game was just, it was one howler. And he hadn't played
man of the match here, standing around and moving like a freaking granny.
I will say with Jorginho, it's easier for him to look back.
That looks like he's window. That looks like he's window shopping, man. After time, bro. The guy's defending. Looks like he's window shopping, man. He looks like my 90. He looks like my 68 grandma. Window shopping, man. He's literally window shopping.
I got a question.
Bro, just say you hate the guy.
I don't like him, bro. I don't like him. But what's it called? It's just facts, man. Like he's so honest.
So show shouldn't start on Saturday, so I'm just gonna break it.
Everyone's talking. Justice, what are you saying?
I said Joe shouldn't start on Saturday. Because I'm gonna get in this Joe debate because I gotta be working 30 minutes.
Why? Give me a reason why.
First of all,
why, bro?
We're 5th. We're not in the top 4 yet. So we better be putting our best lineup out every game until top 4 is secure. Anybody disagree with that?
No.
Yeah.
Callum Hudson
I agree, and I agree
is
that
not in our best starting 11.
You can't always play your best starting 11.
So what? One is there, there. So one is in there.
Bro, how can you say we can't play our best starting 11 when Hudson-Odoi has been one of the best players under Tuchel and has helped us get top 4? But and then when we get out of top 4, we're saying we need to play our best player and Hudson-Odoi.
It's been one of the best players under
Tuchel. Hudson-Odoi played better than Warnock, better than Tammy, better than Giroud, better than what's his name, Havertz under Tuchel, better than Ziyech under Tuchel. He's probably been our best attacker, maybe other than Mount, but Mount's kind of a midfielder.
Really, with 1 assist. He's been our best attacker with 1 assist.
Don't come up with GA, man.
Yes. With 1 assist, he's been our best attacker.
Let me just say this real quick. Can I say this real quick? Yeah. You see that Everton game? That Joe had, yeah? Even though he did not get a goal or assist, it still was better than the last 10 performances. That game that Cho had against Everton, man, it was far better, man. I'm sorry, it was far better. Even though you have a goal and assist, man. He was still a lot better. I'm just saying that.
But how can you say that when he got the pre-assist for Everton's goal, but it won't come after?
There's no such thing as a pre-assist.
Listen.
Well, there's no such thing as a pre-assist.
Justice, the truth is, you're saying best starting 11. I believe in our offense, we don't have a best starting 11. I'm sorry, who has stood out this season that you could tell? Okay, you know what, this guy's a guaranteed starter. Not a single player.
Probably. Christiansen.
Obviously Mason Mount. No, I'm talking about attacking wise. Other than Mason Mount, not Werner, not Tammy, not Havertz, not Cho. So for me, it's not like you don't put Hudson-Odoi on the side for anyone else, because I'm not gonna lie, he's got as much a chance as anyone else for me.
The reason I took an issue with it is because you can't deny our front three has been shocking this entire season. It's been horrible. We struggled to create chances, and you look at our last league games. West Brom, who's that before that? Southampton, we struggled. No, was it Southampton? Southampton, we struggled to create chances. Leeds, we struggled to create chances. All of these games where the last time we actually looked like a decent free flow inside, Everton, when Cho played left wing. Why is it Cho has not played left wing all season? He's such a good player. He links well with Mason Mount. We all know that. Tuchel has come out himself and said he links well with Reece James, which is why he played him right wing against Tottenham. He said himself he knows that, or we all know that he links well with Havertz. When he plays on the left wing, he's more creative. He has an opportunity to cut in on his right foot, and he creates chances for Chelsea. There's no denying that. He's a different proposition to Werner and Pulisic. He offers something different in that role.
He's a creative winger, man.
Creating chances, he's the man we need to go for. And you can't
facts. Straight facts, man.
I disagree with the point he's a different player to
facts sucker, man.
He definitely is.
I'd say they're similar players. What I would say is if everyone was fit, I would say Pulisic starts ahead of him. But the key issue in this is Pulisic isn't fit, not fully.
He's never been.
That's why I would agree with games.
You could play them together.
Hudson-Odoi probably should start or should play, but if everyone's fit, then probably shouldn't. I think because Pulisic, I think, is better overall.
I think we can play him instead of Ziyech.
What? No,
does Mount drop out?
It's just a luxury player.
No,
man,
you can play.
Okay, that we can agree on, Kazzy, at
Look,
least.
what I will say when it
Such a
comes to
luxury
Pulisic,
player,
yeah,
man.
we all
Jesus
know
Christ, man.
Pulisic is
Thinks
a great
he's
player,
fucking Lionel
and
Messi.
he proved it. He proved it in the lockdown season that Pulisic can be amazing for us. But this season, we have not seen that Pulisic. Let's be real with ourselves, yeah. At
Even when he was
times,
fit.
we have seen glimpses of Hudson-Odoi where he's come in and he's actually been one of our best players, creating and linking the play. We haven't seen that from Pulisic this year.
Straight facts.
Werner has been straight garbage for a long time. So the idea that
Straight garbage, hot fire, dumpster garbage, man.
when I say straight
The
garbage,
last few games, I can't really say
When-
too much.
when I say straight garbage, I'm not saying oh by
I wanna back Timo, man.
Chelsea standards. You know how we had these standards of Costa Drogba. I'm saying by Timo Werner standards, what he did last year, he's not at that level. What Pulisic did last year, he's not at that level. Our front three is tragic. We don't create chances. Callum Hudson-Odoi is a creative player. The reason I say he's different to Pulisic is because Pulisic is great with the close control. He can dribble in and out, but he's direct, and that's why we like him. He's very, very direct. Hudson-Odoi is a playmaker. He can pass the ball. He can link other players into the game.
This guy's ball, man.
I've already spoke about all the players he links well with.
Oscar, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
Why have the last three managers had an issue with Hudson-Odoi then? Like,
It's simple as this. Sarri he was like 17 under Sarri. You don't play a guy who's 17 every week.
No, but sorry.
I'll be real. Sorry, used him the right way.
He
It's
did.
just the injury we didn't get to see Howard fully. He did. He brought him into the team slowly. Same thing with Ruben Loftus-Cheek. By the end of the season,
slowly.
both of them were key
I
parts
agree
of
that
the
he's
squad.
bringing him in slowly, but there were times when he should have played him more when
Agreed.
we had nothing going forward.
I get
And
that,
he
but
couldn't come on.
Sarri's a stubborn manager in itself. That's why I can understand it, but he still brought him in eventually. He
Sorry,
wasn't
Tex.
I agree
Frank
with
Lampard-
Scott. Sarri
Frank
played him in
Lampard
the Europa.
Just him.
Wait one sec. Sarri played him in the Europa League. He scored 4 goals and 5 assists in a competition that we went on to win. People don't credit him with that. I don't know why. Later on in the season, Sarri started playing him in the league, but it was a bit too late. I agree with Scott. It was a bit too late. Then under Lampard,
only a bit too late because he had the injury. There was another 6-7 games in the season before that.
Under Lampard, the injuries came, and under Tuchel, Tuchel knows he's a good player. That's why he's played him right wing back and right wing, because he feels like I can get this guy in the team and I'm going to get a performance out of him. Why do you think he's played 3 different positions?
Behave, Gem.
I'm not
Put it in the bin, bro. Put
You got done with that.
Damn, right there, man.
Behave, bro.
Jorginho agenda right there, man. Jorginho agenda right there, man.
No,
Get Jorginho out of here,
Gem
man.
knows I ain't hearing none of this. He's got the dirtiest Krusty the Clown agenda as well. We ain't trying to hear it. Oscar,
Krusty
sorry.
the Clown.
Krusty the Clown,
No,
Christensen, man.
I think I've said enough. I think I've said enough there. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
I
let me
agree with
understand.
Scott said earlier. I agree.
think-
Like we
I
have
blame-
to
I
ease
blame
it slowly.
Bonnie.
But at the same time, like I think with the stubbornness that we know that Sarri looks like, I think again, man, I think he should play more a lot under Sarri, in my point of view. But yeah, man,
17
it's
years
just,
old,
I
man.
think defensive work from him back then because you're so young. That like I think Sorry brought him in. I think overall you done well bringing him in. And I think it's unlucky that just as Hudson-Odoi started to play with Ruben Loftus-Cheek and everything, it looked beautiful. But and then Hudson-Odoi got injured. But I think I agree in it. There was times where Hudson-Odoi should have played more. But I think overall, I think if Hudson-Odoi didn't get that injury, I think Sorry would have looked a lot better the way he used Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, that's the past. We're talking about right now.
cool.
Right now he's been I'd say
right now,
apart from
Joe's
now,
been all
he's been our
right. I
best
thought he's
attacker.
okay in the right wing back. I thought he's played good. I thought he played all right in the left wing.
He won a what's called man of the match award at right wing back, man. At a role they only played for 3 games. Like he won a man of the match award.
Right wing back, left wing back, chose everywhere.
can't
Joe's
lie,
been
bro.
good.
He's
Right
everywhere,
wing
bro.
back.
He's everything, man. Complete, man. Not like
Nah,
Werner.
the
who
right
has a
wing back
full
thing,
slice
he's
kick.
physically playing
Guys,
right
guys,
wing.
wait, Jester, I think you were continuing.
let Jester go.
Go for it.
Yeah, first of all, we need to understand the definition of what facts are. Just because you say something doesn't make it a fact. That usually is called an opinion.
I'm trolling.
So-
I'm 16, man. I'm just trolling, man.
Oh, you're
That's
talking
me.
about him?
Don't mind me, bro.
I
Don't
just,
mind me, man.
I just want to put that out.
Don't mind me, man. Don't take what I say seriously.
So, for me, is first you have to understand the system that we want to play and how the players fit in that system. Okay. Second, you have to see, okay, when I put somebody in a certain situation, how do they perform? Okay, when Callum's come off the bench, he does not look interested in the game because he doesn't start.
So doesn't Ziyech.
Bro,
I
Ziyech is just
agree.
like
There
a
are
luxury
some
player.
players who do not play well off the bench. Okay.
All right, guys. I'm
That's-
gonna go for a second. See you later, Lewis.
Take care, Kaz.
So the second thing is if he plays off the right, he's only a right-footed player. He has no left foot to cut in and shoot, which means his best position is on the left. Oh, do we agree? So we did this yesterday. Yeah. We agreed his best position's on the left.
Yeah. His best is on the left. That doesn't mean he's useless on the right, though.
I didn't say he was useless. I said his best position is on the left. He likes to play on the left.
Agreed.
Everybody wants to see him on the left.
Justice, are you talking about wing back or as a winger?
No,
winger. As the left forward.
Okay.
Agreed.
Because we don't play with wingers.
Yeah, we don't. Okay, go on.
So you could say the left attacking position if you want to. So then now you're saying you want to start him over Werner. You want to start him over Pulisic. And by the way, Mount is better on the left as well.
He's not better on the left.
Nah, he's better on the right.
Not in a million years.
Right. He's round the right.
He's better on the left because he can cut in and shoot on the right.
I wouldn't say he looked terrible. He looked very average on the left under Lampard and he was getting overplayed.
Different position, my friend.
Hudson would be much better than Werner.
Different position.
So
wait, let him finish. Let Justin finish.
That's 3 players he has to compete with to play on the left. As a 20-year-old that he's had a season off because of the Achilles. He missed almost an entire season. So you're going to throw him out there you're going to throw him out there over. Let's see. Let me calculate the transfer fees here. 110 million.
So in that case, should Kepa be starting instead of Mendy?
No.
I'm just point
you have to look at the entire picture. You guys just look at
325 at least. 325 mil at least.
So also you have to look at the formation and how Tuchel wants each position to play. The reason we've been successful with a front 3 of Werner, Havertz, and whoever else is there is because Werner stretches the field with his pace. It allows a pocket of space to be opened up in the center of the pitch for Havertz to play in as a false 9. That has been when we've been at our most successful. So now you're saying, well, Cho just needs to play there because he's a playmaker. Well, guess what? In this system, the false 9 is the playmaker in that system because that's, really what they're supposed to do. So you're saying, just like playing Mount with Havertz sometimes looks bad because they do the same thing. They drop deep to pick up the ball. So now you're saying, let's play 3 people that want to drop deep and pick up the ball. You're compressing space. You're putting too many players in a small space because everybody's going to drop deep. Who's stretching the defense? If you put Callum Hudson-Odoi, Havertz, and Mount on the field, who stretches the defense?
You could play Werner also. Like, I'm not saying that you just have, like, if Hudson-Odoi plays, that doesn't mean Pulisic or Werner don't also play. I'm just saying he should be given a chance to occupy that left role as he did against Everton when Werner was the one who stretched the defense in that game.
But I think what he's saying, the problem is that you can't play Werner on the right and you can't play Hudson-Odoi on the right. So that's where the problem arises.
You can't play Hudson-Odoi on the right.
They're competing for the same place. So Werner has to be there to stretch out the play. I believe
but as we played against Everton, Werner played on the right. Hudson-Odoi played on the left a little bit. He created chances, and Werner was stretching the play. So what's the problem?
What Tuchel said to him that game?
I agree with Oscar, man. Hudson-Odoi needs to be given more minutes and starts. Like, we know he's all got talent, man. Like, he can ball out on the left too, like over Werner, right? Werner's been inconsistent. Give him a rest. Allow Hudson-Odoi to prove himself and create a point. So, I mean, I hear your point for Pulisic and these other players, right? Pulisic has shoddy hamstrings, right? If he runs more than 200 meters each game, he's at risk of an injury, right? We've got to ease Pulisic back in. And I agree with you, Pulisic does need to play, but we can play Callum now. Like, just give him that opportunity, man, especially against Palace, considering we do have Porto midweek too. So, we need some rotation in there. So we can't just keep chucking out the same squad each game week because it'll just get the quality of play will deteriorate each game because, it's just too many games in too many days. So I think, like Oscar, Hudson-Odoi just needs to be given chances, man. And Tuchel shows some trust in him. He wants more. He sees more in him. That's why he subbed him off because he knows Hudson-Odoi can hit these higher limits than he's currently doing. We just got to give him those opportunities to hit those high limits, man.
So
yeah, I don't think Chris is disagreeing with that. I feel like, or from where I'm seeing it, it's a matter of, look, we're not in Liverpool's position where there are a couple spaces outside of the top four, and Champions League is going to be their main way of getting back into it next year, or winning the Champions League is going to be one of the only ways to get back into the Champions League next season, right?
Right.
And looking at the way that Real Madrid just performed, we have to be realistic at our own thoughts as how well we're going to be able to progress as well, right? So now we're sitting at 5th in the Premier League, and West Ham are what is it, a point on top of us, right?
I'm probably on top of us, yeah.
So we it's a matter of now we need to realistically look at our situation and see, do we rest players now and risk going down a bit worse, stretching the lead a little or stretching the deficit a bit more, trying to beat West Ham? Or do we rest some players in the Porto game where we have a 2-0 advantage and we have the away goals, right? So for a matter of being realistic and trying to get into the Champions League next season, because that's how, look, as much as we want to talk about all these transfers that we're going to get, if we don't get Champions League football, none of them are coming. So yeah, I would play our strongest team this during the weekend to make sure that we solidify our place in the top four.
But then do you think this,
I would say,
no, go on.
My final point, because I got to go to
it
work.
depends on.
Go on, Jester. Go on, Jester.
No,
Scott,
you go.
Scott was talking.
Scott, Jesters, go for it.
I was saying it depends on injuries as well, because we already had cracks at Lampard in the past for bringing players back too early, and that's where I say if everyone was fit, for me I'd say Pulisic gets in over Hudson-Odoi, but right now I don't think Pulisic is anywhere fit enough to play more than a half of football, and so that's where I'd say you probably start Hudson-Odoi with the look to bring Pulisic on later in the game. Plus as well, I was looking at the Palace lineup against Everton and just looking at who they've got at right back. They can get got at right back. Their right backs aren't the best. They're not the most mobile. And I would say that for me, it's either one of them needs to start on the left. I don't think Werner should be starting regardless after the performance yesterday. But I think you could make the case either way for Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi. I just think based on injuries right now, Hudson-Odoi probably should start instead.
Okay, my point
Just on injuries, though. Just on injuries.
My point is, Christian came off this weekend at halftime because of a hamstring, correct?
Yeah.
Tweak his hamstring.
Who was the first substitute on the pitch?
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount.
No. In the game last night.
Oh.
Werner for Pulisic, I think.
Werner for Pulisic, Havertz for Giroud.
Yeah. Right, Giroud and Havertz.
So
it was double substitution. Basically.
If he's got a big problem with his hamstring, why would Tuchel bring him on? Number one, and number two, if Tuchel was looking for a creative outlet in attack, why didn't he bring Chilwell on if he's better suited in that position than Pulisic?
It's Champions League. The stakes are a lot higher than a regular Premier League game.
Exactly.
You can't. Yeah, throwing Hudson-Odoi.
No, it's not even just that. It's the type of game that we were in. We were 1-0 up, and like you're saying, we needed a different player who can stretch defenses. Pulisic does that better than Hudson-Odoi, I think. Yeah, so you see the chance where he gets and he's through on goal. You're going to get those chances with Pulisic. With Hudson-Odoi, not so much. But for a game against Palace, where they're going to defend most of the game against us, and we need to find creativity in possession, Hudson-Odoi is the go-to option for me.
Yeah, they're
I
going to
think
play.
the injury that he picked up as well.
Wait. Would you start Cho at right wing back though?
No.
Me? I'd start Cho at left wing.
No.
At left wing.
Not against Eze or Zaha. No.
I mean yesterday's game.
No. For me personally, James is our right wing back. Chilwell or Alonso is our left wing back. There's putting Hudson-Odoi there. You'd only do that because he's a competent footballer and he's good at moving the ball. That's not his position. Yeah, he's a forward. He should be playing left wing or at worst right wing.
Yeah. Or you play him there against a team where the left hand side is not necessarily the strongest and the left back or left wing back isn't going to attack. Like against Wolves, their left back I think was Nuri, who's like an 18-year-old who's barely played like high level football. He played in the French league before coming to the Premier League, but like that was a game you could play him in. Yesterday against Sanusi was attacking so much you needed that defensive solidity of James. Hudson-Odoi wouldn't work because he's a competent defender in this system playing at right wing back, but he's not great.
Sanusi, I thought it was what was the name?
Oh, okay, I was having a second thought. That's all. So that's fine.
I think Hudson-Odoi did pick up a knock at under 21s as well. So
it was a shoulder injury.
Yeah,
but he was shoulder injury before that.
So do you think Tuchel's just not trying to rush him back, or do you think he's fully fit and he's just choosing? I don't know.
No,
he played the last
game.
I
don't think Tuchel rates him as much as you guys think he rates him.
I think he did.
I think he sees a long-term potential. You forget that he was. I'm
telling you,
at Dortmund. He was at PSG. You know, he sees talent. He was not afraid to give Pulisic, you know, his first start when he was breaking through at Dortmund. This unknown American guy coming into Germany, man. You know, he obviously has faith in young players. He brought young players through in PSG. A friend of mine is a PSG fan. I can't remember the specifics, but he did give them opportunities, man. So he's not. Tuchel is going to give the players opportunities, and Palace is a good opportunity for Hudson-Odoi to express.
Not only that, Nick. Like Tuchel has basically said, like when he was on his way to Chelsea, he knew of Hudson-Odoi. He was on his radar from PSG, and he was on the plane, and he said, "Oh, we can use this guy at right wing back," because he was just thinking of how he's going to like set up the team against Wolves in 24 hours. He used Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi shined in that position. He continued to use him there. I think he knows. He said in interviews he knows Hudson-Odoi can also be dangerous off the left. And he's going to move him there eventually. And he did it against Everton, and it worked. Since that Everton game, we have not created very well going forward. For me, it's not even like rocket science. It's clear as day.
Well, Tuchel does not rate him like you think he rates him. He gave him a chance, and he hasn't seen what he wanted to see out of him. That's why you haven't seen him lately.
Okay. So this season, do you think we've seen what we need to see from Pulisic?
No. Because he's been injured.
The whole season, from literally August till now, are you giving injuries as an excuse for his like non-existence?
Yes. Because if you don't get consistent game time,
can't use the injury excuse for Hudson-Odoi.
Oh, 100% you can.
So you're now saying that he's injury prone like Pulisic?
Not as injury prone as Pulisic.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of injury prone. He's had
but
injuries
he recovered
the past
from
2
an
seasons.
ACL injury. So I mean,
it's Achilles.
Sorry.
He's had big injuries the past 2 seasons. So
right,
you know.
Again,
I just believe in rotation. I like Pulisic too, man. I think Pulisic was really, really great. And if we can get him back to that form, he's going to be amazing for us. I prefer Pulisic more in a number 10 role, like how he plays for USA. Centrally, I think he's dangerous. Like when we played against Leicester and he almost won us that penalty, or when we played against Arsenal and he won us I think he won us the penalty in that game as well. So he just runs from the middle. I like him there. But as a winger, as a wide player, or an inside forward type of role that we play, I think Hudson-Odoi is prime for that role, man. His creativity deserves.
I can't lie with the game sticking fast. Yeah, with the game sticking fast till the end of the season. Like I prefer rotation.
Made Morata score 2 goals. You have to rate him.
If we go and play Real Madrid next round, I'm not saying start Hudson-Odoi. If we play the Champions League final, I'm not saying start Hudson. I'm saying Crystal Palace play Hudson-Odoi. Like it's not like I'm asking for much.
It's a must-win game.
Every game is must win from now.
Every game's a must win. So
every game from now is the final. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still battling for 4th in the Prem. We're still in the Champions League. We cannot just be dishing out the same team game after game after game. We need to rotate rest players so that they can come back bigger and stronger for the games that matter the most. Palace is a significant game, but we have way more significant games down the track, man. We still have to play Leicester. We play City in the Cup next week. We play Porto midweek. You forget about that. We cannot still take this Champions League for granted, man. 2-0 is a very
Are you saying that Werner, from what I heard you're saying, Werner needs to play because he stretches the play, because of his running from the side and obviously stretches the play and gives false nine. Is that what you're saying?
He needs to rest, not play.
I could answer you and tell you, listen, he might do that, but at the same time, he does miss chances. He doesn't have the right movement on the board. He's very poor. So he might offer you those things, but at the same time, we don't get the calmness on the ball. We don't get the movement from him as well. So I don't want to play Werner just because he does that one attribute. It's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? We're Chelsea Football Club.
I don't. I'm going to make this my final word because I have to go to work, and I know Lewis has to jump off.
Yeah, we'll go through the final thoughts, bro. Go for it.
So, Werner, just because he's on the pitch and has that pace, teams have to game plan for him. Okay? They don't have to game plan for very many players other than him on our team because he has that one attribute that can burn you at any point in the game, which is pace. So right there, you're set up to either double team him or play a high line to catch him offside. We still do not know how to play with Timo Werner. We don't. You play the ball in space and let him run onto it. Okay, I watch a lot of Bundesliga. A lot. I watched Timo play all last year. You play the ball over the top, let him run onto it. We had several opportunities to do that last night. Never did it. So we just need to play more games together with a static starting 11 that doesn't rotate every 2 days, so people can understand how to play with each other. So, and my point on Cho is not that we shouldn't play him, is that I don't see where he deserves to start. Keyword being deserve.
The last 2 games he's played, we won. The ones around those, we didn't win when he didn't play.
I understand.
No. I get what you're saying. Obviously, that's just anyone could do that, but he was effective in those games. We watched it.
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't. My point is the word deserve.
But Werner
guys, this is the beauty of debate and opinion in football, and this is exactly why we love the sport. But we do have to head off. Lawrence is waiting for me on his stream. Guys, everyone watching it, go straight to Lawrence's channel and tell him that I told you all to jump on there as well. He'll massively appreciate it too. Big up the entire panel for jumping on. Bro, the amount of fucking debates we've had today, honestly. But this is why I love doing this. This is literally, you can just jump on a live and just chat football for hours, get at each other, and we'll all be calm at the end of it. Big up everyone who's been locked in. Smash the like and subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. And as always, up the shells. Let's go.